3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasin the Racin.
Here we are tonight with Christian Idden and Joe Atroyd, and unfortunately, Josh Corner is not gracing us with his presence.
And he's not at Burton's.
And he's
or next.
Straight in.
He might be, actually.
I'm impressed he's beat you to that, mind.
If there's one in Ibiza, he's found it.
Absolutely love it.
Right. He's using his loyalty card, isn't he? I love these linen trousers. Sorry, Josh.
You're not, mate. I love it. Absolutely love it. But hey, obviously tonight is brought to you by OMG Racing, JCT, Truck and Trailer Hire, and for this special episode of the Catch Up where we just slaver on shite, and this makes it even better because it's your personal sponsor.
It is, yeah. Gear Change in Scunthorpe, or Gear Change online. Motorcycle clothing in Scunthorpe. To be honest with you, it's difficult in it to try and find. I think the high street stores are closing where you could go and try your kit on.
Yeah,
you know, I have to trail quite a long way. Scunthorpe for me is about an hour, but well worth the trip. They've got just a decent choice. They've got a big facility there, so there's everything: leathers, jackets, textiles, AGV. What else have they got? LS2. They've got the new Alpine Star helmets. Have you seen them?
How much?
They're nice things. Them.
Oh, he's an Alpine Star.
Oh, you are HJC, so
yeah, Alpine Star suits that.
Alpine Star suits, yeah.
How much are those lids? Aren't they like?
I think they're about £800, so they are. They are dear.
I thought they were more than that.
Are they more than that?
Why are you looking at me?
I don't know. He's not in them.
He's wearing a t-shirt.
Well, do you know? Well, you know the best thing to do is
he's literally wearing a t-shirt with Alpine Stars.
The only way to find out
is go to Gear Change in Scunthorpe,
and then you'll know.
Try one on. Go and see.
Nicely done, lads. Love it.
Go see Wazza or Warren. But Wazza.
Yeah, what's South African church name? Imagine a load of like Chasin the Racin fans going in. I'm looking for Wazza. Get out of my shop, mate.
Well, there's only a more Brandon there. Go and see the boys. Tell them that you've heard about them through Chasin the Racin, and they'll see you right. So yeah, Gear Change, Scunthorpe, or Gear Change online. I think their website is. Order online.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Well done, Joe. That's brilliant. So, like I say, we're here on a Friday night, and our gaffer, our glorious leader, Grace Rouse, has ditched us for a wild night out.
On the town.
And the best thing is when we walked in the house, we always have like a little pre-meeting before the meeting kind of thing. And Christian just blankly looked at which town. It was just the most honest Christian answer. Like, which town? Like, oh yeah, what are you on about? It's town.
Well, she answered the door all dolled up, and I was like, we're only coming to do a podcast.
I know.
Relax.
To be honest, I thought she's going to make an appearance on her own show here in any second now. I couldn't wait. Absolutely couldn't wait. But I tell you what, let's just jump straight into it. Obviously, we're going to be talking about BSB, World Superbikes, MotoGP, just generally having the crack, because I actually made some notes. I'm learning to read and write.
Can we first say where we're missing our fourth man?
Why do you want to touch a nerve with me? Because he's an idiot, that's why.
So basically he's not allowed to be here.
The best thing is we had a chat about how do we bring this up, but
Josh is getting married. Like another lamb to the slaughter. We've lost another good man.
Yeah, so he can't be here tonight.
It's a sad day.
Because he was told.
This is the beginning of the end. Soon he won't be able to wear things, I don't know, like his comfy slacks, they're going to go. He'll have to be in Burton's attire all the time. Where are you going?
Congratulations,
yeah,
Josh.
well done, Josh.
Oh my God, that's class. I tell you what, yeah, right. Well, the worst thing that ever happened in this world is also the greatest WhatsApp groups. So we've Grace created one, like the CTR pods, like the podcast group, sorry, and obviously, Josh, is big moment. He's like that. Oh, lads, I'm going to tell everyone, before, but I want to tell you lot, and straight in there just went, I've asked her to marry us. And you could see at the top of the screen, Joe typing, and Christian, blatantly with Nicola sitting next to him, straight away went, epic lad. And that massively set the tone for the rest of the conversation.
Unfortunately,
you couldn't piss take from then on.
I took about 30 seconds where I sat, and then delete. Well done, mate. Son, I thought, fucking pub emptiers, a lot of you. And then you followed suit.
Oh, mate, I totally cowered out. I just got in behind you and went, oh, well done, you know what I mean? But that's all lads wanted to do.
We'd have only spoilt his holiday if we'd got stuck into him, so...
Yeah, so we've done it publicly on Chasin the Racin. What I'm really hoping for is them two just, we'll catch up with the lads and the way one hits the play button, and obviously we're all like, worst mistake of your life, you're getting married. How, like, you know what I mean? I remember my first day at work, man. You know what? In the first thing, there was a lad called Colin Thompson. I think he's still alive now. And I jumped in this transit, and the first thing he said was, "Don't get married. Don't have kids." That was the first thing he said to us.
Well,
and
we've done
The
both
thing
of
is,
them.
yeah, we've done both, so we're both lambs. We're already dead. We're gone.
We're gone
We're gone.
straight down the beat. Absolutely love it. But I tell you what, now we're talking about victories of life. Josh is winning in his life. He's getting married. Let's talk about you, mate. You've been on the podium.
Me?
Straight in at Joe Ackroyd. Straight for the jugular. Hold on, which...
Oh, it was good. That was good, that, yeah. That was 24 Hours of Barcelona, which is like a standalone event. It's not part of the World Endurance Championship, but they do it every single year. And I think it's been going quite a while, and it's building popularity. More and more World Endurance teams are going and doing it, and there's 3 or 4 like real handy Spanish teams that go and do it. Yeah, I got that message from Ryan Maher to say.
Oh, he's saying it right now.
I got it right that time. And yeah, it was. It turned out really well, but if I'm honest, day one I just thought I've ended up on the cast of like Snatch here, because just all these paddies turned. I'm sat there like, what the fuck is going on? They're all like roaming about, and I'm thinking, oh my god, like this could just be a disaster, to be honest with you, because
That is class.
nobody seems to know what they're doing.
Did you tell him that you were Irish? Because you were Team Ireland. You were representing the whole country at this point. You know what I mean? Did you like turn up and go?
Well, no,
you saw all the flags and you were just like that going, what is my best Irish accent? Like, you know when he's signing on in like Barcelona, like drippy shower.
They are like, they're bonkers, aren't they? We signed on for the practice day, and it was like €700 or whatever. And Ryan turned around and he said, "Is that just for one bike?" And she went, "Yeah, it's another 700 for the other bike." "Ah, sure. I'll tear it in half. I'll put one on one bike and the other half on the other." It's like as quickly as anything.
They are
They're
so
fucking
quick.
brilliant, just ace. But yeah, it was good. I've never been there before. Not done a lot on Dunlops. Never ridden an R1 before either. But got on really, really well. I think the fastest stock time was I want to say like a low 46.
Have you ever been around that circuit?
No, I don't think I've, no.
No, mate.
Not Barcelona.
It's
no.
lovely, really nice track. Well, the Spaniards do it right, don't they? They
Yeah.
just do it right. Yeah, and
Well,
our
it's a
fastest.
MotoGP venue, isn't it? So
Yeah.
it's proper.
But do you know
And
what?
an F1 venue.
Do you know what did surprise me though? Is the barriers are quite near in a few places.
Well, they
for a
changed the
MotoGP
last
track.
corner, didn't they? Because that was not
They moved
ideal.
that back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And the
But
cars actually do an extra chicane, didn't they? Because it's 2.
before that last turn, yeah, they've got like they turn right and then left and then go back out. But yeah, I did think, fucking hell.
And you're a road racer.
Yeah, but I've just started looking at
You know what I
things,
mean?
not from the point of view of, oh, that scares me, but a job that I'm involved with is to do with circuit design. So I've started picking up on stuff like that from a job point of view, but it doesn't bother me when I'm riding. But I just thought, that's... for a MotoGP, because they won't go to Spa, I don't think they'll get a MotoGP.
Really?
I don't think so.
Impossible.
What?
Do you know, like...
We've gone the words impossible here.
So I don't think they'll ever go back to Donington either, because the speeds that those bikes go, the runoff required, you can't do it at Donington. Which is unpopular opinion, because Donington is a bike track, and how good would it be to see bikes going MotoGP back at Donington? But I don't think it'll happen, because I just think where you come down the back straight into the Foggy S's, the speed that those Grand Prix bikes would be going with that tyre wall, that they can't move back, they can't put a gravel trap to stop that happening. Do you agree with me?
I agree 100%. It's impossible.
Even somewhere like the Melbourne Loop, you imagine a brake failure or throttle sticking on a super stock bike would be fucking terrifying. You imagine going in there on a MotoGP bike. So it's not going to happen. I don't think it'll ever happen at Spa for the same reason. But then Catalonia was one of those where I thought, just surprised me a little bit.
That's an interesting way of looking at it, really.
A lot of the tracks that have never not been on the calendar, it's when they struggle to go back. So retrospectively, getting permissions to do stuff is much more difficult.
Yeah.
Like way more difficult.
Yeah, they've been there that long.
Yeah.
It's just part of it. Yeah.
If you thought trying to now certify most of the BSB tracks, you wouldn't get it.
My mum said to me the other day, they don't still do Cadwell Park, do they? I said, yeah, they were there at the weekend.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my God, I thought they'd stop going there in like 2008 or whatever. Same thing, innit?
Yeah, but if you went there now and tried to certify that circuit, I don't think it'd be...
Can you imagine trying to build Cadwell now? Can you imagine getting that passed off?
Let's just go on tracks. So I didn't know you were doing some circuit design stuff, but isn't it just lovely how tracks, when they were evolved from being, when they go with the lay of the land...
A farmer's field.
Like Brands Hatch, you see the old when it was a dirt track, and Cadwell when it was a dirt track, and the reason that and Alton when it was that was a bit different because it did flow with some road stuff, but like they put the track where it worked with the lay of the land.
Yeah.
So that's why you've got the right cambers and you've got the way that they flow and all that, rather than this like take a circuit and drop it on a piece of land.
Yeah.
That's all the modern tracks are like that.
Yeah.
And it's
we need to find a plot of land to build a racetrack on. Where is that?
I think every new track design should have been ridden on a big motocross bike a lot of times, and then they tarmacked it. Be mega. That's how.
Minus the jumps.
No, I don't mean jumps, but like just to get the flow of it, not to just be like, oh, we need to put a hairpin here and then there's something else here.
That that one in France that I rode, that was exactly. That's why I like that. That was all.
Yeah, follows
up the side of a mountain, like the hill, and back down the other side. Brilliant. Yeah.
I wonder if there's actually like a...
The latest one was Portimao. That's the best one they've done in the last 15 years that I know of. New track. That's actually got something interesting to it. Do you not think?
Yeah, no,
I'm trying to think of other new places, like because that one in Thailand's flat, isn't it?
Everything's flat.
Mandalika,
rubbish.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what safety upgrade they would have to do to bring back a track. So let's use Spa as an example. You know how like a few of the barriers are like a fair bit closer. I wonder if there's like a risk assessment element, like you're saying. You know how far barriers are, how big gravel traps have to be at a minimum. So, for example, if you're going to redesign the safety traps off Donington, so you've got that bank side of turn 1 with that gravel trap. In theory, there'll be some boffin listening to this show, and I hope there is. I can actually dig through all the regs and everything, or find out somehow how much further that gravel trap would have to be to make it. You know what I mean? Like if they went right, we've got the money. Money's no object. We can dig this out to X.
It's a good question. It's a pretty boring concept, but like
it's a massively boring concept.
No, but there should very much be a very set thing of the maximum speed that someone can go in this area, so therefore you need X as a runoff, and just apply that the whole way around the track.
A lot of it
should be pretty simple, to be fair.
A lot of it's done with simulation, though, isn't it?
No, a lot of it's done with people walking around going, yeah, that's all right, that's not. Yeah, I think that's all right, so that's all right.
We wouldn't want to crash there, put an X, you know what I mean? No, but like, you know, if you asked all the riders, you know, even at MotoGP level, you know, you're speaking here as like racing fans, and you know that attitude of like you just want to go to a good layout.
They've just been to Austria, haven't they? And I know, like, what was it, 4 or 5 years ago, everyone sort of saw their ass with the last corner at Austria. That was quite a bone of contention, which is why the track isn't the same width the whole way around. The last corner, the green's been moved in a bit.
But that was also the same place where Rossi nearly got taken out by the flying bike, wasn't it?
Just about to ask that.
No. That was up the hill. So they put that
but it's the same circuit.
Same circuit, yeah.
And it's also the same circuit where I think it was Jorge Martin did a long lap penalty last year, and it's on they rejoin on the exit of turn 1.
They do, yeah.
And the trajectory for him joining the track puts him back exactly onto the racing line, and he fell off, didn't he? And nearly got ran over. And so there's been a few round there.
And that's at top level.
It happens. It's motorsport. You know, there are challenges, aren't there? That's what makes it fun.
Anyway, I hope you design a good track, because all the new ones are shit.
I didn't say going back to Catalonia.
Yes,
I feel like I do need to give the Irish team some credit, because
I thought you were about to say the Irish period there. I thought you were, just because you raced for Team Ireland once doesn't mean you're the ambassador from Yorkshire. You know what I mean? I would just like to give a shout out to my adopted country.
I do feel like
We're going to lose every follower from Ireland right now.
I am the Irish ambassador. Yeah. No, God. Fucking hell, you don't want me being ambassador for anything. No, it was good. It was good. I was quite quickly on that R1 as well. I really like the R1. Have you done R1 one?
No.
I've never.
Fucking really nice bikes to ride. I still ride like a little bit like a 600. I carry too much corner entry and too much mid corner, and then I'm not great on the exit on a big bike. But them R1s, that's exactly how they need to be ridden. Like, that's why Kyle does so well on
But I would love to see him on an like. That would have been something special. Like that would have been.
But I do like seeing him on a Ducati.
Oh, no, Ducati. It's Jesus. What? Who doesn't want to see someone on a Ducati? It's a fucking Ducati, for God's sake. But I mean, you know, BMW, Suzuki.
What are you saying? What I've been on?
Have you ridden an R1?
No, I coach on one at the Whitman days, but I've not ridden a proper one.
All right, stock bike. What's your opinion on it? Then? Oh,
do you have to be careful on what you say now, don't you?
No, I don't think I do. I don't.
we are Pirate FM, but I love it.
But his contract is in Pirate FM.
No,
that's why I haven't got a contract with Ducati. I've got a contract through Motor Rapido, so it's fine. But so my opinion, all I can do is, because I don't ride many standard bikes, my only opinion is that we used to coach on Suzukis, and now we coach on R1s. Whittam's crew is supported by Yamaha, but I wish I had a Suzuki because they're so good to ride.
Yeah.
But I think that's more because the Suzuki is so good to ride. Like, literally, because we have to ride like super slow to... Some guys are pretty fast. And it does everything the whole way through, and it does it beautifully.
Yeah.
Whereas the standard R1 actually is really difficult to ride quite slowly.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I agree 100%. The Suzuki's are a mega bike.
Unbelievable bike. It's fantastic.
They
don't even make them anymore, do they?
But they feel roomy, don't they?
No, they don't make them.
Making the 1,000.
No, they've stopped making them. Yeah,
so that really good bike, you can't even get one. Yeah. So unlucky.
We just sent the price of Suzuki's up.
Single-handedly. But even going back to the R1, yeah.
Michael Dunlop had built one of them.
Yes, I heard that.
And then the spare bike was Josh Brooks's tag bike from 2015. So I think it would have been his superbike that they've then converted back to stock.
He finished second in the championship on that then.
Yeah. So stock engine and stock swing arm and linkage.
Yeah.
Put back on to what the super
Irish stock. Yeah. So they get the engine in and everything else.
No,
stock.
1400.
It was definitely a stock engine because it wasn't very quick.
With 40 hours, if you don't put 2 engines in.
A NOS. Where was I? You do this all the time and I can never remember where I was.
Christian, third gear, swear to God, could pass him.
Yeah.
No problem whatsoever. Lap times are good because we were faster than everyone else.
It was good. Have you ever done... You haven't started one, have you?
Tell me you run it on red as well. You must have.
What a twat.
Oh my God, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. This is proper. I tell you what, the thing is, my missus is good friends with the Maha family, so this is why I'm really enjoying this. You know what I mean? Because like the good thing is,
it was 2 standard bikes.
the best thing is they've got a proper sense of humor. You know what I mean? They are absolutely good. Did you have Roger with you by any chance?
No,
you didn't have. No, but honestly, that whole lot are absolutely brilliant. But I tell you what, I would like to push a button on is, you've done. How many hours was that endurance?
24.
A 24-hour endurance race. To be blunt, how hard is that? We put a team together. How do you go about doing that? Do you literally just like?
To be honest, that was a little bit what I was getting at when it seemed a little bit like, basically there was Ryan and his dad Frank drove the truck down with everything in it. Me and my mate James turned up next. Then the other Irish rider Alan turned up the same time we turned up, but didn't show up at the track, and they'd basically gone for a few beers, and he'd got his mates with him. And then there was our other lad who was a French guy who didn't speak a word of English, who was there with his missus who was translating everything. So he wasn't a lot of crack, because you can't have the crack, can you, because he's French. And then he doesn't speak the language. So Then when Alan turned up and he got his mates with him, I don't know whether they knew they were going to get put into a job role or whether they thought they were on holiday, but they got put in a job role. And it was like, we're all going to have to pull together now. So I got a fucking whiteboard and wrote everyone's job out with some help from one of the other guys. That was just really gassy, innit? And
so he's lost his Irish pride, gorilla sponsorship, anything else we need to lose?
But yeah, like I ended up being the quickest. They said, you're going to start the race. And I said, I don't want to start the fucking race. I don't want to start the race. And they're like, no, you're the quickest. You are starting the race, which is terrifying.
Have you... When's the last time you did...
I've never done a Le Mans start before.
Hold on. After you are Mr. Endurance of Chasing the Racing, you've never done a Le Mans start?
No. I've always just avoided doing them. I don't like them.
How is your running since you've had all the scaffolding removed?
If you know when the flag's going to go, but I misread the flag because I wasn't listening in the briefing. And in World Endurance, they hold it above and then they drop the flag and you go when they drop the flag. Here, they held it down and I'm waiting for him to hold it above his head and drop it. And as he brought it up, everyone set off. I was like, oh, we're going then, are we? So I was like on the back foot a little bit. But to be fair, I've got long legs. So I did like 3 steps and was on the bike. And the little fella next to me is like still running across. But yeah, it was all right. It was good. It was keep out of trouble on the first stint. And then Ryan had a bit of a spill. It was bad because it was so hot. Fucking hell, it was hot. It was 34, 35 degrees. And them Dunlops don't really work when it gets to that temperature. The circuit was slippy.
What tyre does work at that temperature?
Oh, it was savage.
You know what I mean? Pirelli won't. Do you know what I mean?
A Bridgestone will.
Yeah, Bridgie probably would.
Really?
Yeah,
or they would have something for it. They've got...
Yeah. I don't think anyone was on Bridgestones, though.
Well, we know what we're taking next year, then.
David Checker was there on an R1. I don't know if their team had Bridgestones. But yeah, we ended up... there was 22 hours left and I think we were 33rd and it was like...
Was this overall against the superbikes as well as the stock class?
No, that was over because we'd had a crash. So it was like, fucking hell. So it was just a case of trying to just say to everyone, right, well, we just chip away. We just keep chipping away. I did a double stint at 2 a.m. in the morning. They'd said, they had one of the guys called Benny, big, massive fucker that we were going to put on the fueling, but we couldn't get a fire suit to fit him. So we were like, right.
Big Benny's a big boy.
Benny's a big lad. So we were like, right, well, the next kind of manimal job is doing the wheels and tyres. So he walks past me with these wets. I said, what the fuck are you doing with them? He's like, it's going to rain. I was like, what? It's going to rain. I was like, fucking hell. Anyway, I get on the bike, pitch black, slicks, been out maybe 5 minutes. I'm like, fuck, well, how much is it raining? Because if it was daylight, that it would be head rain, where you'd be thinking, I have no idea. Then you can feel it on your suit. So then your only gauge is, for me, was looking at the painted parts. So every time the headlights flashed across the red and white painted curbs, they were getting shinier. So I knew it was getting wetter, but that's the only thing that I could sort of gauge.
How many laps did you do at this point?
I did another 40 minutes on slicks. Because I couldn't really tell. And by the end of the stint, it was sort of slowing down, but there was no real spray from the people that were coming past, and not a lot of people were pitting. So it was just like, we're going to lose more time trying to go in here and change.
And then if it dries up.
And then if it dries immediately, we're bollocksed. So
I suppose with that kind of track, that track temperature would be nuts. So if it's hitting it.
Yeah, and I think it was, because to be fair, there was some steady lads that were coming around the outside of me on slicks. And I just thought, you are fucking brave or stupid.
Or genius.
They just obviously had more confidence. I just thought, we've worked really hard and we're chipping away, and I'm going to end up putting it through the fence here if I get stuck in. Anyway, I come down pit lane. I thought, thank fuck for that. That was awful. I jumped off the bike. The lads are putting the wets in, and I turned around and there's nobody there. And I looked across, and Ryan stood there with his leathers like down around his waist, and he just went, go again. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. So the wets went in, and I think I did about another 40 minutes on the wets. But by that point, it was dry, and then we didn't have any more rain. But that was a double stint, which, honestly, I felt all right. I have trained really, really hard, and I felt all right, and it was good. The worst thing I did was I had a nap, or I didn't sleep, but I went for a lay down at about 3:30 in the morning, and Frank was next to me snoring, ticking over like an old Perkins diesel. And then the Frenchies had blown up next door, so they were just having a party on the roof of the truck. So I'm just laid there listening to my country music, just thinking, well, at least I'm resting. They came and they said, oh, you're out in 10 minutes. And I got up and I thought that's the worst thing I could have done, because I don't know if I want to spew, shit myself, go back to sleep. I don't know if I'm thirsty. It was horrible, because you've been up since 6 the previous morning.
That's the hard thing, isn't it, with the 24s? Like, they start usually about, what time did it start? Because I know that when I did Le Mans, it was 3 o'clock or something, and you're like,
World Endurance started at 3.
Since 6:30, 7 o'clock that day, so it's not a 24, it's way more than a 24.
Yeah. Well, the problem as well is
being awake.
World Endurance do the night practice on the Thursday. Yeah. So you do your qualifying and practice Thursday afternoon, then you do your night practice Thursday, and then on the Friday you just have your last session before the races at lunchtime. So you've then got all afternoon of the Friday to just relax. The team's got loads of time to sort the bike, and then you start the race at 3. The one in Barcelona, our night session finished at 11 p.m. Friday night. So there was then 13 hours till the start of the race. And in that time, you had to sleep and prepare the bike. So like the lads finished working on the bike at something like 4 a.m. And then we all had to be at the track for 6:37. So you're just written off. You're completely written. We didn't get back to the hotel till midnight. Then you get 6 hours sleep, and then you're up and you're into doing your 24. So I think because we travelled home on the Sunday night, and I think when I got home it was something like 39 hours I'd been awake.
Actually, that's something that totally skipped me, that. You forget about that little part of it. Even people watching, you think, well, actually, I could do an hour stint, no problem, but you actually forget about the day that you're there, doing signing on, doing all this, doing everything, and then...
you have morning walk, you do all your stuff, you flip and get all your kit prepped. So it's an intensive morning regardless,
before you even start,
even if you weren't doing a 24-hour race.
Yeah,
class.
But
I remember when I did it, because then after I was teamed up with Michael Abbott, who was my teammate at Taz at the time, and then so we then just followed each other home to get to the boat. It's not a massive drive, is it, from Le Mans to the Whatsapp? Then
till I have. It's a couple of hours, isn't it? 2.5 hours.
Can't remember which port we went to. Then you get there. So we'd done all this. You'd been up from 6 the morning before, so not that morning, then the morning before. And then we got on the boat, finally. You wait there for a couple of hours for the boat, and then he goes, do you want to go to the bar? Oh, yeah, go on then. You just think, why did I do that? All you want is bed the whole time, and then you just went, the bar?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Great idea.
Absolutely love it, man.
Did you weigh yourself afterward, like before and after?
No.
I lost 5 kilos in 24 hours. Mad, isn't it?
I imagine, especially with it being a hot race, I'm not surprised in the slightest.
But they lose that in a stint at Suzuka, don't they? They lose between 4 and 5 kilos per stint.
And they re-educate us all a stint, an hour?
Well, whatever a tank will last, 50 minutes.
50 minutes.
As a rule, it's about 50 minutes, yeah.
So Suzuka's, I've done...
That 5 kilos.
Suzuka was...
Mad that, isn't it?
Because it's only 8 hours, you only do between 3 and 5 stints. It's not loads, but I found it a very different, just a completely different experience, really, than doing a 24. But not necessarily that one's harder than the other. Actually, they're probably equal difficulty, but just in different ways.
Yeah.
Because that humidity is strong.
That is rough.
Trying to cool your body down in between is nearly impossible. Because to get your you can get cold, but to get your core back cold is
well, I think
impossible.
Was it Raymond Ramos that rides at Kawasaki in World Endurance? He did one stint and then that was it. He was out, and they'd already lost. Who's their other right? Gregor LeBlanc, and then they've got Christian Gamarino. And Gamarino, I think he did 2 stints back to back on his own, and then they went and interviewed him, and he was like, "We're done. I can't do it on. I cannot do this. Any other track, an 8 hour with 2 people." If you're an endurance racer, is doable. It's 8 hours would be hard, but it'd be doable. Suzuka's not possible, is it? It's just not.
It's difficult. Obviously, it depends how conditioned you are to it. But whenever I did it, I know I would feel absolutely physically fine. It's quite a physical track, but it does flow, so it's not the end of the world. But what I was getting is you just get when your body core temperature goes up to a certain point. I felt it that the heat was fine until it was a bit like a fucking thermometer. And once the heat got to my head, that was me like game over.
Yeah.
So like literally you do your 45, 50 minute stint, and about 30 minutes in, pretty much every time about 30 minutes in, that heat would get to my head and I'd brake coming into is it 130R, whatever it is, and like the sweat would hit the front of my visor from the inside of my helmet, and then I know it's like from there on it's just please get to the end, get to the end of your stint. And by the end of it, I couldn't hardly see out my visor from what was on the inside of my visor, not anything else. Like literally, it was just
sweat and salt,
just minging, salty. Just couldn't see anything.
Just to clarify my point, when I said you couldn't do it with two riders, you could do Suzuka with two riders. You couldn't do it like Gamarino did it, where he was trying to do back-to-backs on his own. You can't do that. But like quite a few teams end up doing it. Well, Dan did it with two last year, didn't he?
He did, yeah. All about the money.
Every lap's going into his account. Ching, ching, ching. I love it. But I'll tell you what, before we go on to like what you've got planned in the future, as far as the rest of the season's concerned, let's just jump straight down at Christian's throat, because I'm trying to think that made some notes, like I was saying.
We're not in trouble when you
definitely made some notes. You're all in the but
you are going well this year. You are.
Have you watched the last two rounds?
That is the most loving thing I think you've ever said to anyone on the show.
I'm gonna just bring him in the nuts. Last one was shite, wasn't it? That was hard work.
Yeah, why?
That was fucking hard work.
Thruxton was a disaster. Cadwell was a disaster.
Is that just the track layout, to be blunt? Because you and Glenn, Ducatis were back.
Well, Thruxton, we always knew it was going to be difficult because it doesn't work for our bike.
Why?
Because...
Brilliantly put, by the way, Joe. Why?
Why?
Just round that off. Just round that off there.
Sound like my 6-year-old. Why?
The biggest
because you can't.
Because no.
Get in the cupboard.
Because I say so.
The biggest difficulty we have with our bike is picking up grip at lean angle, where you accelerate out of a corner. So you go from a slower speed to trying to generate speed at lean angle is really difficult on the Ducati.
Because of geometry?
I think because of the swing arm.
And obviously you've got an OTC.
It's got a big girder on the back that's so stiff, like there's just no flex in it, so it doesn't pick up grip very well. And you see that sort of thing happen because the stock times at Thruxton were faster than any superbike, so it shows that the more flex you've got, and a bit of help potentially with the electronics, but I see it more as the chassis work. So so we have that issue at all the tracks, but there's only 1 or 2 corners per track that have that, whereas Thruxton is literally
side grip
the whole way around.
Yeah.
So we just struggle. We just completely struggle.
The new Panigales brought out the twin swing arm, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Is Glenn running that? Are you running? Are you allowed? Are you allowed to run?
No,
that?
So that's the S. So that's a 1200. So it's not actually eligible for any series.
Right.
So I think it's on sale for next year. So if there was a series that allowed a 1200, then you could run it. But we don't.
What are the Aprilias? 11s?
That is a 1200. They allow it in the pathway because I don't know.
No. I feel like I'm just playing devil's advocate, but no, I'm just.
It is a bigger bike. So so we can only race the R. So the R doesn't have and won't have. I believe it's in the pipeline to have a normal swing arm.
Right.
But not for a couple of years, and I'll be getting my pension by then. So.
Are you not now?
Hey,
got a bus pass, haven't you?
Got a bus pass.
I was wondering how long it would take you to jump in there with a knife.
Well, I'm wondering when he had Botox last as well, because he ain't got a single wrinkle on his forehead either. Fucking breaks, man.
He is the Benjamin Button of the paddock, man. You know what I mean?
Peter Pan.
I've got a face like a battered Ford Anglia. He's sat over there.
I didn't want to say, but
prick.
So Thruxton was a struggle.
Yeah, back to it.
Yeah.
Thruxton was a struggle, big struggle.
So where does that then play into Cadwell?
It doesn't. I've got no excuse. I don't know what happened.
Was that you or the bike?
No, so...
Wow, well done. Next round. Straight like Cadwell, yeah, that was me.
The other thing I think that's gone on this year, and I don't think I noticed it that much, I know that PBM have spoke about it a bit more, because there's only 2 Ducatis on the grid this year, is the switch to a harder tyre.
You're not allowed the X, is that right? No.
Yeah, not allowed the X. So we're all on the 0, which I'm all for, to be fair. I'm all for harder tyres and making them last, and I'm actually pro that sort of philosophy.
Good.
It just makes it harder for us that are already... Finding grip is already difficult for us and our bike. So if you then take even more away, if you take 10% away and we're already 20% down, then if you
The
add those
deficit
up,
just got even bigger, didn't it?
it exaggerates. Whereas if you take it away from other bikes, actually certain bikes not to work better, because I don't think the other bikes would have chosen the Zero if they had the choice of the X. However, certain bikes had potentially previously more rear grip than they needed, so it's not affected them very much at all. If anything, it's made them a little bit easier to ride.
Do you guys get any support this year from Ducati directly? Because didn't Barney Racing used to help out a little bit with...
I think Wilf has connections with all the teams, so yeah, we don't get anything specific help. I think Ducati want the Ducatis to go well, so I'm sure that it's a reasonably open thing. But the thing is with BSB is it's so different to what we do in what World Championships are.
I was just going to say the regulations
very
are so
different. The regulations, it's almost a different sport in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, this I don't think I'd realised really what this tyre change had done to us until we've now been to 2 tracks with low grip.
Right.
So Cadwell was a straw.
So he's gone from pro to now. Yeah, I want to change this.
Exactly. So Thruxton and Cadwell are both really low grip tracks, and yeah, I didn't foresee there being any issues for us at Cadwell. And literally from the Thursday night to Friday night test, it was like this is hard.
That's hard at Thruxton, where you refer to it as a low grip track
when it's insanely grippy.
The most abrasive place in the world, isn't it? But your bike does not generate...
It actually isn't abrasive. It's got a very open tarmac structure, but it's not abrasive. There's no grip there.
Explain that the wet times, though.
Because the wet times, there's never actually any standing water there, ever. And you're never accelerating from a slow speed. You've always... The hardest thing for lower grip is to generate momentum. So in the wet, you're never doing that. You've never slowed down and then had to turn a corner at full lean. The whole time you're rolling. So you can roll nearly the same speed around all them corners in the wet as you can in the dry.
Because obviously, like when you look at Thruxton being the sole base of this, the time's so close.
And you're about 4 seconds off in the wet, which is ridiculous. Other tracks you might be 20 seconds off.
Exactly.
But other tracks you've got 30 or 40 corners and you decel down to 0 and then accelerating hard again. Whereas there, you just rolling the whole time, carrying momentum.
I tell you what, I don't want to jump subjects at the moment. I just quickly want to talk about swinging arms. Now, remember when Lee Jackson was riding for FS3 and they did a swing and arm change on him, and then he went back to there was a different manufacturer.
They got the what they were running at World Superbike, didn't they? I remember it.
Yeah. So how many swinging arms have Oxford and PBM tried, or is there no option?
No, there's tons of options. That's loads.
Interesting.
But then, so I do know that there's another one that's coming out very soon. But again, is it what we want for our tracks?
And a bike that doesn't have any rider aids, if it's been developed on a bike
it's
with
a
rider
completely different...
I just find that dead interesting that, when you can gather data on that side of things, obviously it's going into on an engineering point, it's very, very interesting. You think, well, if you create more flex in the swinging arm, but like you said, the Ducati, for people that don't know, it's single-sided. You know what I mean? There's only so much tolerance it's got.
You hit the nail on the head when you just said then, like, Lee Jackson got the swing arm that
Johnny Ray and Alex were having.
Yeah, which...
And didn't like it.
He didn't like it. No, exactly, yeah.
Well, I don't know about didn't like it or it didn't work.
It didn't... There is that side of it, because he put it in, and then, like, they went back to the other one, and he just went... It's now, fair play to Lee Jackson, but he just comes up like a jack-in-a-box as a racer. He just goes, and results.
But how did that swing arm work in World Superbikes? Did they not like it in World Superbikes either?
But like you said, electronic package,
and that's the thing. That's the thing. Do you remember when how Tom Sykes used to ride a World Superbike? It was like a real unique style, but it was all on electronics, wasn't it? He was so aggressive on electronics.
Turn, drive.
And you imagine trying to say, okay, we're going to take all those rider aids off, or we're going to take off that electronic factor. You try and ride that now. The chassis wouldn't work.
I agree.
The chassis would not work at all. So, like you say, you get a swing arm.
We're very much at the sort of beck and call of the rules and the changes. And I genuinely hadn't understood or comprehended fully how much this change of tyre had made a difference. And to be fair, it hasn't been that bad until we've gone to low grip tracks.
Sorry, go on.
No, I'm just curious. Like, how many swinging arms have you tried in that Ducati?
No, we don't go through loads. So basically,
just curious. Like,
I think it's not financially viable to keep every time they try something. And the trouble is, like, the incremental changes that the world's teams are doing are so finite that we basically go, we might miss 10 and then go, they've actually said this is definitely better on X, Y, and Z part of the corner. So then,
now it's worth the investment.
Then the teams will go, all right, okay, we'll have 2 of them.
Yeah. Just for people listening, you just think, well, hold on, you like playing golf. In that exactly, you'd have a club for a certain element of the circuit course in golf. You don't want to say field, but you know what I mean. Though it's a bit like in theory, if there was enough time gathered and air, you go right. We are now racing at Thruxton. This is our flexiest, side edge grip.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
No, it's I think just for people listening, going actually.
I think there's the other. That there's only so far they can go with it. It's a single-sided swing arm compared to a conventional one, so there's a challenge. There's literally an amount they can go before it either folds in on itself or.
What's one of them swing arms cost?
I don't know. Thankfully, I don't pay the bills. It's probably quite a pretty number.
Because I have a feeling that and I might be completely wrong. I'd love somebody to correct me, but you're not going to get a lot of change out of 10 grand, are you?
15,
not, no.
Yeah, more like 15 to 20 grand on the development element. It's like the silicon engineering ones. They've like that was on the old Kawasaki's. They
bought they bought that swing arm, didn't they? The ownership, proprietary.
But you can drop pins in in certain directions just for certain flex and certain corners and everything like that. That I've seen it. A good friend of mine, Anthony Ambler, he showed me this swing arm.
Just an engineering masterpiece.
Oh, it is.
When you look at them.
You just look at it and go, that fine element.
It's such an interesting one with the rules now, though, because I just told you that the stocks were faster than. Well, I'm pretty sure that Tim Neve was quickest in stock, and maybe Scott Swanee in the other race, and they were both quicker than what anyone went in Superbike in the races. So then you go, well, why are we spending X building Superbikes? And even let's go to Cadwell, they're only a second off, or 1.5 seconds. It's not a lot.
No.
Are we at the point now where you just go, do you know what, stock is Superbike or something? But the trouble is, you then do get rid of a whole load of people that earn a living out of making swing arms and triple clamps and other stuff like that.
Then some might work though.
And you also want something to be the pinnacle of something, I think.
But also, how many times do we see as well? And this isn't me running anyone down because I can't do it. But how many times do we see lads win stock and then they can't make that transfer?
It's a completely different bike.
Superbike?
It is a completely different bike.
Yeah.
The things are animals.
It's not the same thing, is it?
And yes, the ultimate lap time is better, save for one circuit in the country and a few specialist corners in certain areas where you need a bit of flex. But yeah, ultimately the Superbikes are quickest, and they're always going to be. And if you use them to their potential, but to get to that point, I think is way harder. Which is why you see riders that don't make the step up always that well. You think, they're coming through and they've got the talent, and then they get there and go, I'll go back.
It's not quite working out.
We must give a shout out to Tom Ward stepping in for Angel Franco Born, and I was just like, mate, I'm watching the telly going, this bloke has got the accent to drink tea with the King of England, and he's just riding that like a naughty lad.
It's not just there though. Where all this year he's been impressive.
Oh mate,
he's been riding like
it's just.
I sent him a text that says you are riding so well at the minute. Like something's just twigged. He's happy and he's enjoying his riding. Again, happy rider, fast rider.
That's it. But then on the other side, you've got Richard Kerr at the moment stepping in for the injured Rory Skinner. When's Rory coming back? I think he's on the net. I'm hoping he is. Be good to see him back up there.
Well, he tried at Thruxton, couldn't race.
No,
and then didn't ride at all at Cadwell. But I think he's still pretty crocked.
Yes, yeah. So it must be a big injury because you know what he's like. He wants to get back on it straight at that point. But there's Richard Kerr at the moment who's just doing outstanding in AMA, is that right?
Yeah.
I don't want to mix that up with MMA. I'm like that. Richard, start a new rumour going, he stepped into a mixed martial arts, you know what I mean? Just kicking everyone all over the place. But anyway, I diverse. I must talk briefly about a rumour mill while we're on the subject. There's a rumour kicking around that might be the last Thruxton.
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
Thank God you two haven't heard it, because if you two heard it, it must be true. But
they've got new owners, but I've not heard
new ownership.
Aye.
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Yeah, it's been bought by someone with £1 or £2, I think.
Thank God for that, because hey, I tell you what, this sport is just dripping in rumours all the time. We are now beautifully at that point of silly season.
Is there going to be a red?
It is starting to be
a
silly
red flag at the entrance, a red and white flag at the entrance
Beg your pardon?
to Thruxton. Is it the same person that owns the rest of the tracks that's bought it?
I don't think so.
It's not.
No.
Right.
No,
But that would definitely be back if the MSV bought it.
Do you know, going back to your point where we were just acknowledging a few people that are standing out, Storm Stacey's riding well as well at the minute, I think. Am I allowed to?
No, we're just...
Yeah.
Mind you, I think...
Because we do jump from one topic to another quite a lot, and we were just acknowledging a few people.
But that makes the listeners think they can't not pay attention because it just drops in and out all the time.
I just thought...
Well, he won a race, didn't he?
Yeah, but that aside as well, he's obviously got a little bit of...
Would you sack him for doing a roll and burnout on your 20 grand engine all the way up?
No, it was a rubbish one anyway.
As long as he wasn't bouncing it off the limit.
The engine builders on the other side of the block going, it's fucked, mate. You do that roll and burnout as hard as you can, you know what I mean?
Finishing your BSB then. So where's the next one? Alton.
Wait, so we're showdown now. We're showdown now.
You're still in the championship contention then, aren't you?
4th.
Hold on, the last time
Were you third going into Cadwell?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah, so we lost a shitload of points at Cadwell. Thruxton actually wasn't that bad for losing points at the top of the championship. I'm not interested, to be honest with you, where I finish in the championship if it's not at the top. So I've just been looking at the points to first. So Thruxton, although it was a really difficult round, I didn't lose that many points.
Because it was a bit of a shake-up anyway.
Yeah, Tommy didn't really capitalise on where he could have finished, sort of thing. So whereas at Cadwell, him and Kyle really did. So
they stuck a bit into you there.
Yeah, they really stuck a lot in. So we've got 3 proper normal tracks now that we've been to already. So yeah, it's showdown time. So it's different. It's different to showdown before. We've not got like this cut off of 6 or 8 riders or whatever we used to have, where only they can win. Like literally everyone can win as long as they're in points.
Explain how it works just for the listeners, because this is what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
So basically, the first 9 rounds. It's 11 round series. The first 9 rounds, which we've now had, is it 9? No, 8. The first 8 rounds which you've had.
Mate, it's fucking nuts.
The winner gets 18 points and then divvied out down to 15th.
And it always used to be 25 for a win.
Okay, don't confuse it.
I'm trying to.
You're doing well.
So rounds 9 and 10, which are the next 2, Alton and Donington, it's 25 points a win. It's the standard point system that we used to have.
Yeah.
And then divvied out down to 15th, standard way. And for the last round at Brands, it ramps up again. I think it's 35 for a win.
Right.
So that's worth 105 points available in the last round if you win all 3.
Yeah.
So it basically means there's been more people potentially can win. But I'm like 64 down now on Tommy's.
On the lead.
Yeah, so it was a big drop. Big drop. That hurt me. And who, if we're going to give shout outs, I think Tommy Bridwell is having an absolutely stellar season.
Yeah, and
absolutely got to flipping hand it to him.
Yeah.
I think he's riding with a different level, different to what he rode last year, if I'm honest with you.
Right.
Do you think he's found
inner peace?
The monkey's off his back, isn't it? Yeah.
I think he's just riding happy. He's riding with full of confidence. I think actually that bike is also very good this year, because a lot of Honda riders this year are going very, very well. And that's not to say like down talk the other Honda riders. I just mean in general, everyone on a Honda is going
stepped up
very well.
Yeah.
You've seen this like step up that they've had previously, and maybe some of that's down to Tommy's involvement and coming in and stuff. They had the Japs over actually at Cadwell, so they're obviously putting a lot into it. But yeah, I just want to, I think, just a bit of credit where it's due.
No, I agree with you. I think you wouldn't have maybe put him in your top 3, would you? Top 4?
I didn't have him in my top 6, and I feel
Did you not?
No, and I feel bad that I didn't even.
Mad, isn't it? You would.
Well, because last year it wasn't the chosen bike, not by a long shot. I actually almost felt sorry for him last year that he, having won the championship, that was the decision.
I think that's a bit like. No, but that's the thing. From the outside looking in, you looked at the results and went, "Wow, that's it." To me, when I saw that as a fan of racing, I saw that as when that's too cocky. you've won the championship and you're going to try and do something that's just not working at the minute. And he is just... and he's not even... The thing is, he's not even... He's not brag... Like, from what you see on public persona and what you see on the telly, it's not like, oh, look what we're far from it. Just, we're here, we're doing a job, and it genuinely feels... that is exactly what they're doing. It's like, we're just working at it.
Did you watch race 2 from Cadwell that he won?
I don't want to watch any of Cadwell back.
Well, good for you, because we've got it on the phone here, mate.
I drove out the gates and erased it from my memory. It was like I'd never even been.
That second race that he won was the last couple of laps. Kyle fucking pushed him, really pushed him, and if you just watching the way he rode, didn't put a foot wrong, didn't get flustered, didn't do anything silly, just thought that's an absolute class act. Absolute class act.
And where's Kyle in the championship at the moment?
So Kyle's second. So Kyle's, I think, probably about. I might get this wrong, but between 15 and 20-ish points back, I think, from
in reaching.
Oh, well within reach. Yeah, well within reach. And then Glenn's third, but a chunk away, so he's about 5 points in front of me, so he's probably about 50 odd, 55.
Ryan's fifth, isn't he?
Yeah, so Ryan...
he's proven he's got pace. There's
no doubt. I mean, if you're going to say who's probably the quickest rider on the grid, like, as an outright lap, then...
It's OMG's Racing.
Ryan is that lad. But it's funny, I had a conversation with someone at another team manager at Cadwell after the evening test, and the conversation went like the only person that can beat Ryan is Ryan. And then it's amazing how a weekend can turn around. He took the front in qualifying, I think it was, or maybe FP3. I think it was qualifying first lap, so didn't set a time, so he was back of the not back of the grid, but back of the first grid, if that makes sense. And then they had a technical in the first race,
which nearly caused...
Mate, so I was 3 back from that.
How were you behind that?
Well,
that looked
I was kind
terrifying.
Of in it, but so I smashed the front of the bike.
Didn't Tom Ward end up in the back of it? Was it Ward that hit his exhaust
and just flattened it?
So I was. My memory's always a haze in racing, but I was like 2 or 3 back from Ryan in the race at that point. It was like first lap past the start finish.
Yeah.
But the whole way around that first lap, I could see his bike like smoking like crazy, and I was just waiting to have a big old crash. Isn't it weird that you're there, just welded someone's back wheel, just ready to
accepting
that at some point that thing's going to shit itself and you're all going down, and you just carry on. It's the stupidest thing ever. Yeah. But anyway, so I was there.
I've knocked off 2%. I feel safer here. You know what I mean? That's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, funny enough, talking about that, like I will go back to it, but like at Knockhill, and I was in the lead of the race, and I came over the start finish, and there was a diminished adhesion flag. Right, it's pissing down. It's diminished adhesion. What are you supposed to do with that information?
Exactly what you've just described. Just accept.
I actually thought about this when I'm racing. I'm going, what came over the crest? You can't see anything, can you? I'm like, okay, there's not an oil flag. There's a diminished adhesion flag. I'm like,
it's pushing down.
Literally, if I'm going to not crash on someone's oil, I need to go 20% of the speed that I'm already going, which I can't do.
Yeah.
I've got... all you've told me is I'm about to have a massive crash. Like, there's no...
You should just have a crash board.
Yeah, is that you're about to
brace.
It's a weird flag though, isn't it?
Oxygen mask hanging off the side of the circuit.
You'll be where bag's going to go off.
I'd rather just not know. They just put the ambulance there instead, ready.
Just give you a whistle to blow to attract attention.
Anyway, so it's a weird flag to have. I just think they should just do away with it. Waste of time.
Mate, at the Manx I did the same thing. They've got a low visibility flag, and the fog came in that thick.
Please tell me you couldn't see the flag.
Mate, you couldn't see shit. You couldn't see shit riding up over the mountain in that superbike race. It was just like...
no shit.
All you could see was this, for 2 seconds, was a marshal holding a flag. Anyway,
saying visibility.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Just get out the way for your own safety. You know what I mean?
So I was convinced that Ryan was going to get black and orange flagged for... well, I was surprised he hadn't done, because this thing was puffing properly, like really, really smoking a lot. Anyway, we came down the start finish, and I then tucked into, like I said, there was a couple between, and then it was just the parting of the waves, so his bike cut out. I actually heard it didn't break down. I think there was an electrical
problem.
So apparently the bike was on fire, or smoke, not on fire, but like smoking. So it burned through some wires, cut the fuel pump. So it just shut down. And literally, you tucked in, and at the point, I was probably he was probably only doing 30 mile an hour less than what I was.
But you were doing 120
And he might as well
mile an
have
hour?
been stood in the middle of the track, is how it felt, when this... Anyway, thankfully everyone got away with it.
Because like you say, that could have been humongous.
It could have been. So anyway, that happens, and then that gives him a last place on the grid for the next race, and then, do you know what I mean? It goes... The weekend for him snowballed into this, whatever. Then he finally gets a good grid slot and just hasn't done the laps and just maybe got a bit giddy and then chucks it away on the second flying lap or something, and you go,
Yeah. But do you know what? He's probably learned a massive lesson from that one.
yeah, don't do that again.
Exactly.
Yeah, but like you say, like that's a great way of putting it, because the only person beating Ryan at the moment is Ryan, and it's just because that's another.
That was another team manager that had said those words. But
it's a good way of putting it at the minute, because when you look at the pace, that's where it is at the moment.
But the pace he had it, so in the evening test he crashed and then got straight back on and went equally as fast. So you just go, okay, he's got pace. He can just put in these lap times, and nobody else really was within half a second, which is a world. Quarter of a second, which is still a world. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. So the weekend didn't turn out for him. So he must be 20 odd points behind me. So yeah.
And again, that's a world, isn't it?
80 odd. Well, it's not, but he's 80 odd behind the lead. So that
is a world.
That's a lot. So that weekend at Cadwell could have been the end of his season in terms of fighting for the championship.
Technically, he can still do it, but
there needs to be a total different story in front of him at the moment.
The thing is, when you talk about points, you go, there's still 25 to 75, 150 plus. So there's 255 points available.
I couldn't have done that.
I like how you looked on the camera at Grace there. No. The mathematician going on there going, help me. She's not here, mate. She is out
wrong.
Kissing boys or doing something like that.
She's not. She's at a study group reading the Bible.
Sorry, Martin. Sorry, Martin. Sorry, son. Yeah, I know, because obviously Chris's dad, Martin, still listens to this. I'm never getting the job here again, am I?
But as much as there's 250 odd points available, there's that available to everyone. So if you win and the guy in second leading the championship finishes second, you've only made 5 points or less.
Yeah.
So it's never, it seems like, there's loads of points available. Yes, there is, but only if other people don't score out.
I think a positive for Ryan, though, is that a couple of years ago, he was sort of the one that everyone was talking about, and unfortunately, it wasn't really transferring. He wasn't having probably the easiest time on track, and there was a steep learning curve. I would say the positive at the minute is that, all right, it's not that. Cadwell wasn't great, was it? And where else did he go? Where he won, cleaned up at Navarra, didn't he? And then
he cleaned up at Thruxton as well.
Brandsey cleaned up at.
Thruxton
he was exceptional, but Brandsey cleaned up at probably.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he did, didn't he?
But the point is that he is establishing himself and has now established himself as a candidate to be more than capable of winning the British Championship, which is not where he was.
OMG have got themselves in a good position at the minute, haven't they? They've got Kyle and Ryan and two of the younger riders in the series, and
Have you heard this of a rumour mill? They're going to go Worlds next year.
I hadn't heard that.
You're full of them today,
mate. I'm telling.
But I had heard that Ryan was looking to go Worlds. I hadn't heard that the OMG Yamaha that were looking to go Worlds. It'd be interesting. Why not?
But you see, that's the thing. Exactly. Why not? You know what I mean? Alan's got the the infrastructure. He's got the team. He's got Paul. He's got everything. He can actually.
If they win it this year with Kyle, then
that's 2 championships.
Then you've kind of ticked the boxes. The same with Kyle. Like, what does Kyle do if Kyle wins it this year? Because he's of a young enough age that he should be looking to move. If he,
you'd wonder what the future holds with, like, not to jump about, but Bradley Ray has obviously made that jump. Well,
he's probably going to be an interesting one for the BSB paddock for the rumour mill in terms of is he coming back or not. Yeah. I would say Taron's probably staying and doing whatever he's doing.
With Scott Redding maybe on a BMW.
I think Scott's staying in Worlds, but obviously you don't know. But I think Brad's probably the big one. Whether he's coming back or not, and then where would he slot in?
Well, especially if OMG disappeared off the grid.
Yeah.
That'd be a big loss.
A big hole.
It would be a big loss to the championship if OMG go.
Massive.
Any team's a big loss to the championship. We're 27 bikes or whatever, so it's a big percentage.
And speaking of, this sounds horrible, touch wood for the love of God, but speaking of, like Wilf, how is Wilf? Because basically he tried to eat a sandwich and it nearly killed him or something like that. What's the story?
Yeah, so my boss basically had a serious medical scare.
Serious, yeah.
Not long after Brands, so pre-Thruxton, basically for the 2 weeks before Thruxton, he was out for a meal, and I still don't quite understand how it happens or what happened, but he burst or he split his esophagus, which is quite a bad thing. It was like 50-50. It was touch and go
How
with
the
him.
fuck do you do that?
Cough really hard.
Is that what he did?
Yeah, I think so, something like that. And then because of the discomfort, he was then trying to get fluids into himself, but then that was going through the whole drowning himself. Anyway, he's been really poorly. So he was back at Cadwell, but he's going through a lot. Like, he's going through the ringer. His body's obviously trying to not heal. Not like fight anything, because he's kind of through all that. He's actually trying to heal. So his body's tired. It's basically just trying.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Heal all the time. So yeah, fair play to him for coming back for Cadwell, because it's also not the easiest logistically track of flipping.
Yeah, literally climbing Everest every time you want to come in and out.
Jesus.
So.
Oh well,
that's close.
Get well soon, Wilf.
Yeah,
wish you all the best, mate.
Yeah, thankfully looks like he's on the mend anyway, which is good.
Jesus.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, it was a big shock, to be fair. Probably more to him than me, if I'm honest with you. But it's not ideal, is it?
Where were you when you got the new? I make it sound like a pregnancy announcement. But where?
The team manager had phoned us up, and to be fair, I was at a calf with Josh, and he said, "Oh, can I?" The team manager phoned up and said, "Oh, can you talk?" I was like, "Aye," and then he sort of said what it was, but obviously Josh is semi in the paddock and stuff, so I had to be like. So the team manager probably thought I was very not
flippant about it.
Flippant.
Right, yeah.
I went, all right, I'll call you later.
Is that Hammy?
Yeah.
Oh jeez. Well, Hammy's chilled out. You know what I mean? Be like, you just hung up the phone. What a rude.
I've got to get this coffee and carrot cake and carry on with this ride.
When I phoned him back later, I had to explain that I was kind of with someone that knows Will. So
bloody hell.
Do you know? Now that we're at the point that we are in the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you putting for maybe being a surprise for the remainder of the year?
Christian.
It's not a surprise.
Other than backing yourself.
What a backhanded, horrible thing to say.
I was like, yeah, I didn't really think of it that way. Sorry, mate. You just carry on with the show. I'll just see you and let the sofa swallow me up.
I think both the Hawk boys are cool. Well, Nesbitt's coming off 2 good rounds.
It's good to see Nesbitt back.
Lee Bob hit a triple podium at the weekend, which is at Cadwell, which is really difficult to do, to have that consistency and be up there.
Lee needed it though as a bit of a boost, I think.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think anyone is a surprise. I think Danny Kent's had a couple of really tough rounds. Thruxton and Cadwell were really difficult for him.
Yeah, Hickman knocked him off in one, didn't he? Well, not. But I'm trying to remember
for it. So yeah,
literally celebrating it. On the footage,
basically.
Yeah, just pushed him onto the grass. Hickman stayed on and then rode on. So
no, but Hickman ended up on the grass as well, didn't he?
But Hickman stayed on
his bike.
Stayed on. Aye.
Bilby on the podium.
Oh mate,
that is the most popular podium person in it. That's the
Billy McConnell, legend,
absolute legend. Love Bill, and that was a good one.
You're talking about Thruxton. That's the Thruxton round.
Well, he was going really well at Cadwell as well. He's on a really strong vein of form, to be fair, is Billy.
Yeah, good. He said something in his interview about the CNL Chris Fairburn, and he said he's taken me from tears to glory. And I thought that, and he pulled him in on his podium interview as well, and he said, "This man's the reason that I'm still here." Bill's one of the most humble people you ever meet. It's mad because if you know him as a mate, he's a fucking lunatic. You don't.
He's absolutely mental,
and you don't think he's deep enough to acknowledge things like that. He just seems like this fucking Australian spaniel, isn't he? He's just completely nuts. But actually, when you spend a bit of time with him, he's quite a sensitive soul, isn't he? And he's got a huge heart, rides his bollocks off, deserves it, and I thought that was mega when he got Chris up on that, because Chris has been with him a long time, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah, no, I hope that team sticks about and takes it through to next year and stuff. Like, they are starting to get announcements. You know, Danny Kent was the first that I'm aware of, the first confirmed rider for next year, so things are starting to move now. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one. It seems like the rules are going to start changing soon enough. Like they're thinking of some big things, I think. So next few years are going to be interesting, I think.
Do you think there'll be a big change for next year or not?
I don't think there'll be a massive change for next year, but I certainly think that
They're going to try and turn it in a
The
different
championships are looking into what bikes are selling out of the showrooms and those sort of things, and I don't particularly think it's the 1000 cc's.
I tell you what, I'm like, speaking of like classes, that 600 class, the grids are full, rammed, and very, very fast.
Super Sport,
sorry, yeah. Super Sport is just a different level. I think
that sport bike's really popular as well, and I see that I can't remember what I read it on, but they're taking that now into some other
taking that in the
nationalities. Are they taking it to Worlds as well?
Oh, hold on. I know that, yeah, definitely national. Like, oh, I need to get my facts right.
Anyway, but you're 100% right. Elsewhere, yeah. So it's worked. It's worked, I think, really well in the UK. That sport bike class,
definitely.
Which at first I wasn't really that keen on, because I just thought, another overpriced little class. But it clearly isn't that, because they've got full grid. So little did I know what was going on. I didn't really understand the concept of it, but it's obviously working well.
But but like, even with like the 600 element, you know, the last several years, it's just been a little bit, you know, just the price tag, everything like that, and it just dwindled. Like, never dwindled. You know, it's the second Premier class. You know, you've got Superbikes first, then it's British Supersport. That's how it works. Well, but then the grids,
the more that you can bring in different like brands, manufacturers, it helps. And the main way they've done that is gone. It's not a set like, okay, Superbike is 1,000, except they've allowed the Aprilia in, but then like sport bike isn't, let's say, a 450. Super Sport isn't, let's say, a 600. It is power to weight, more or less, racing.
Yeah.
They've just gone, you can have this.
That's where Honda could almost be blamed for making a bit of a mess of the Superstock class, because it is a Honda Cup, isn't it?
There's three BMWs in there. You've got Allingham,
there's a few
Todd.
Kawasaki's in
but
there.
Superstock's always been a bit like that, isn't it? Because Superstock's the only class where...
Well, there was a year when everyone had R1s,
exactly,
didn't they?
You're far more like the bike that rolls out the showroom. That's the nearest class to it.
Yeah.
So if one is better than the other, then that is the one where everyone goes, do you know what? Let's just go for that one. Whereas the other class is actually you're pretty highly modified in Super Sport, even in sport bike. You know, like there's more modification that goes on.
But then you see this, like the Super Sport classes, never. There's no such thing as cheap racing, but you're getting a Ducati 959 and restricting it 80%. 765, you're restricting it. You know, you can actually do a full season on these engines. You've got the Gixxer 750, you're restricting it. You know, it's just...
you better, if you're a privateer, you're better off buying the biggest, most powerful bike
and restricting it.
And not hurting it by revving its knackers off.
Exactly. And it just... But all these classes are moving, like, into further fields, you know, TT, such like, you know, it's like, you're talking 12 grand for an R6 engine.
Yeah.
And you normally have to run it competitively at British Supersport. You needed 6 engines on rotation, getting refreshes all the time. You could buy a Ducati 959, take a load of power out of it, and you can run it for a season. Why wouldn't you chase them bills? Even like stock 1000, you're running them at full capacity.
Yeah.
All the time, you know, and you're revving them at a manufacturer recommendation of this is its limit. You know what I mean? To make it last as long as I can.
But even, I mean, the thing is, our Superbike engines are a fortune. I do know they're an absolute fortune. However, we run less than the road rev limit due to the rules. So even our engines aren't stressed, but they are very expensive.
Yeah.
You can tell us how much?
Go on.
Just to the listeners, because I don't think they understand. I don't mean that in a condescending way. I don't think people can appreciate the money that goes into Superbike. Or if they don't understand, it's that how much does a Superbike cost? What is the cost difference between a super stock bike and a Superbike?
Well,
I can't give you an exact answer, so I don't really want, I don't know exactly, but I know they're a lot of money.
You're talking 12 to 15 grand for an R6 engine with Vance 9 head. Tune spec on that. That's British compatible to be competitive. And then you're talking, well, there's an example. I rode a single cylinder Norton 92 bore. That engine was a short stroke engine. That was 20 grand for a classic bike.
Oh, you've moved perfectly onto that, because I was just about to say, when you said about classes, I was just going to say classic TT.
No, but even briefly going, but that Ducati, you know, you can get an engine for 6 grand and runs a whole year.
What, your V2?
A V2. Yeah. You get an engine, but that's without the VAT and everything like that. And you think, you're just thinking, this is nuts. Absolutely nuts. It's just that the money element is absolutely crazy. But I would love to know. I've never known how much
a full-blown Superbike engine,
full Monty, get your knickers off, proper engine? I have no idea. I'd love to know. And he knows. And he won't say it on
I don't know. I think if you refreshed a V4R road bike, I think you're looking in the region of about 12 grand to refresh a road bike. So you can sort of extrapolate out from that it's going to be quite a lot of money.
Well, a ZX10 in 2019, when they brought out the red tops, titanium conversions, it was 1,400 quid a conrod. There's four of them for a lot. You're talking 7 grand retail on refresh parts. So you find a lot of people in stock 1,000 are buying full bikes because it's cheaper to buy a full bike
Than
to
to go and
take
buy
the
the
engine
parts.
out than to go buy the parts. And you're thinking, who is the accounting team of this going, hold on, to buy an engine's this, but then that's bike numbers, isn't it? The more they sell of full bikes, it's better for the business, blah, blah, blah. The conspiracy cloak is closing in here.
Well, this is the problem that some of the super stock teams, and I know this firsthand from I won't say who, but one of the Kawasaki super stock teams that I know, that's one issue that they're into now, is that their bikes are 2 years old now. Their engines, they've kept refreshing them, not rebuilding them, and now they're starting to fail. And the issue is that for them to refresh those engines is more than buying a brand new bike. So it's not economical to stay with the Kawasaki's. The best thing that the person I know has suggested is, guys, you just have to refresh these. We'll get them as clean as we can, and you sell them as a track bike because
you sell them as a track bike for 5 grand.
But then,
but it's cheap. You do that and you buy a brand new bike again, and it's like you say, the maths doesn't work, does it?
But then even to run at that level, like even talking about stock 1,000, like the level that's at is just scary. You're talking within a second of that huge grid. Like let's use Grace's friend Deco. He's stepped into stock 1,000. I've got a friend, Jamie Lyons, stepping up into that. You cannot compete against new bikes. New bearings, new brakes, new suspension, everything's new. There's nothing worn, there's nothing flexing. And you can see that on track. If you bring a bike that's 2-3 year old, it's haggard. It's been ridden, ragged, like vibrations going through it. And then someone pulls up on a new bike. There's that 10th that Christian's referring to. And that 10th is everywhere along the track. And you're thinking, for a privateer team to enter any level now at British superbikes is a minimum of like a 40 grand investment, just like for the bike. Obviously, yes, sport bike class a little bit lower, but you're talking a lot of money. But then to run motorcycle sport now with diminishing of clubs, I feel like I'm going on a negative here, but these are the hard facts. No limits at all.
The trouble is, like, it's a bit of a funny one because, like, motorsport is never ever going to be cheap.
No, it's not.
And
no.
there's a mismatch, right? So, car racing tends to be rich people, right, that are interested in it, and then rich people go racing. Motorbiking, as a general rule, is poor people that are interested in it, but it's expensive to go racing. So there's a mismatch because the poor people that want to go and ride motor, but that are interested
haven't got the money to
go and do it. So that's the problem.
You don't mean poor, you mean it's more working class.
I don't mean poor.
I know. Yeah.
No, but I'm just trying to, you know what I mean?
No, you're correct. No, you are. You're right. You're right.
The working class man is interested in motorbikes because that's what we're all interested in.
Yeah.
But it's not a working class man's sport. That's what I'm saying. It's different.
But and it's mad because it's always been like that, hasn't it?
And so there's the point of, does it have to be a cheap, like, do we just need to change our perception of who can actually do this and just go, do you know what, that's how it is?
Yeah, but
it'll never ever get cheeper. It
is becoming that. And I tell you what, you briefly, like, almost going on to that side of the subject, and it's like, I want to talk a little bit about, like, the Manx Grand Prix. I could talk a lot about the Manx Grand Prix, and it's been an incredibly...
You don't put your shoes on the sofa, do you? I've taken my shoes off. It's more comfortable, isn't it? Got my shark wigs.
I don't really want your sweaty feet now.
I had a shower before I came here. I've been stinking today. I smell fresh now.
Mad. He's bragging about it. He's getting, smell me feet, son. Smell me feet. I love it.
It's more like going, look how nice I am by taking me shoes off before I put my feet on you.
My mum would give me a I'm not putting my feet on you, you get mincer.
Oh my God. Absolutely love it, kids. Absolutely love it.
Sorry.
No.
It was him checking my feet out.
I love it. No, this is why I'm glad I'm starting it.
Smelling him.
Have you seen these? No,
mate. They are.
How do you follow them?
Mate, I'm following him. That's all you need to know.
He's just written his name 20 times.
I have.
Oh, my
lies.
Since I lose my finger, I'm learning to write again. So that was a few years ago. But I tell you what.
Hey, I'm impressed that you've done notes.
No,
I'm
That's the first time I've ever seen him do notes.
No, I'm not. Yeah, you're taking your job seriously.
It's not like the thing is that many people to be thankful for, and you always, and you know yourselves, every time you're like, oh crap, and sometimes people take that the wrong way from us, don't they? Like, oh, you don't give me thank you. Like, there's just so much going on with us. It's not an excuse. It's just a genuine apology. Going, shit, I need to thank more. You do, and that's from the bottom of our hearts.
Can I actually on that point and
go for it?
I know you can't thank everybody, but I asked. Or we talked about the Barcelona thing before I went to Barcelona, and a few people reached out, and just want to acknowledge that again, that very, very grateful. And, I'm also grateful to Chrissy because he kind of gave me the boot up the arse before everything happened to get back into me racing a little bit and sort of inspired me to, one of the conversations we had at Donington just kicked me up the arse. So just to acknowledge the great man again. I'm grateful for where we're at with that. But yeah, go back to the Manx because we need to know.
No, but even before the Manx, it's a bit like I just want to talk because since it's
why are you avoiding talking about the Manx?
No, because I'm going to build up to it. This is the fact. Fuck you. It's the list.
All right,
it's the fucking list.
We didn't get build up.
No, I didn't. Because I was about to say.
I didn't even finish.
You've got two. Is anyone giving this advice to Josh?
That's coming, don't you? That's coming. That. Fucking hell, that's coming. He's going to get both barrels.
Because I love it. No, because obviously,
he's gone back.
But mate, he's never going to come back after this. I'm telling you straight away.
Permanent sick.
Because obviously, even the notes beforehand. Because the last two pods you did was Lee Johnson first, then Matt Roberts, and then we did the McGuinness pod from the TT. You and me.
We did.
That was the last time.
No, we did Playter after that, didn't we? Or was that before?
Player? We haven't done Player.
Here we have.
Fuck, we have.
Donington.
That's terrible.
Or was that before?
That was before the TT, because obviously we're talking about, his predicament. Anyway.
Yeah.
We're talking about, because you've done Snetterton since... I'm trying to work this out in my head.
Since when?
Last time we actually did a catch-up, because the catch-up was like 3 months. I know, it's nuts, man.
Yeah, the catch-up was ages ago.
It was, but leading up to it anyway, I must give a massive shout out, even full out shout out to the Burrows engineering team, and particularly Derek Shields, who's ridden for them for years, because Jack Burrows has stepped up in the British Talent Cup.
Yeah, did he get a podium at Snet?
Mate, he got a podium.
Wow,
mate, straight. This is his first season at it. Straight in. It was wet conditions, but it was the same for everyone, and you know what I mean. It was bloody brilliant.
So I'd seen John because he was out the front of our garage, and I'd have a bit of chat with him, and I said, "Oh, how's it going?" And he said, "Oh, it's difficult. It's a high level." So obviously, I go back in and I look at the timesheets, and I think, yeah, do you know what? It's difficult. He was struggling. So, but I just thought, you just sort of then you watch a name because then you watch a name, don't you?
Well, you made a connection, haven't you?
Yeah. Then
someone to back.
And then we had wet racing, and I was like, oh my God, look at him go.
He was on it, absolutely on it, and he got his first podium. And more importantly, I think it's his dry times, he's shown consistency, and it is such we've just been discussing the high level that BSB and all the classes that it brings is just absolutely nuts.
Do you know what I was impressed with that weekend?
What's that?
They changed the whole engine out.
Mate, you've just ruined it. Mate, this is my point of the shout out, mate. This is the
I watched them doing it every time I scooted past. It was like, when you watch something develop.
Yeah.
At first, it was like a load of people having a look around the truck, as if I'm thinking there's a problem there. I scoot past the first time, and then next time it's up on some ramps, I go, there's definitely a problem there. Next time the engine's out of it.
Mate,
that'll be a problem.
A full gearbox change. So like Billy, who was just, they got a hold of a gearbox, got it down there. Derek Shields, who's a gearbox mechanic, who's racing in the BMW F900 Cup. So the sheer luck that Derek Shields decided to do BSB that season, and
it just so happens to be a specialist at that specialist job.
No, but they got there, they limped the truck there, right? Fitted it, like you said, the whole they just got it up, jammed it in, and then went straight from this is how tight their seasons be, straight from there to the 700.
Wow.
Because every time I scooted past it,
There was
didn't
more
need to.
bits.
It was like watching it on time lapse. You know, it was like
Mate, it was just like, you know that
It was
scene-
out, but loads of people are
was
underneath
so
it still,
funny,
and you went back
honestly.
and got a bit
You
nearer.
ever seen Nicolas Cage, Lord of War?
No.
And then he lands in a dodgy country and they strip the plane down. That's exactly what it would have looked like. It was just like, just parts everywhere. It was just nuts, man, even to the point. But at no point did the ringers know nothing. It was just, they don't know defeat on that side of things. You know what I mean? They just put the head down and cracked on. But I'm like, the fact that their previous rider who's won multiple Irish championships is just like around the corner and just going, Derek, could you...
Are you busy
could you
this
go-"
evening?
Exactly, you know what I mean? But the lad just up in, crank it, and you're thinking, that is just nuts.
So then you went straight to the Southern.
Well, but
You met them in the
I
Southern.
literally met them in the Southern. It was just absolutely mental, man. And it was just, the whole weekend I got my arm trapped. I was in surgery 2 days before I went out to the Southern. That was class. See,
Trapped
look
in
at
what?
that.
What was that from?
Lowering. Beach spun round, literally napped my arm, muscle popped. You seen that? Look at that.
Yeah.
Literally the muscle popped out. So when it just pushed it back in, stitched me. I was in surgery 2 days before the Southern. So obviously I could barely...
Wrong arm as well, isn't it?
Went up breaking and like everything like that, and it was just, and like there was a red flag incident. I tell you what, road racing has just had just such a trying time this year. It really has. And then since the Southern, we've done Armoy, and then we had the look of the weather on that side of things. It was just absolutely, Armoy was a fantastic meeting. The crowds were brimmed. I mean,
Good.
absolutely brimmed, and it was just such a goddamn pleasure. You're thinking, we're talking about, you know,
It needs it, doesn't it? The Irish
needs
roads
it.
need it. They need it. It's
like no major incidents, and the fact that they just completed every race that were done by 3 o'clock.
right.
That just shows that you got William Moon, like he's a new clerk of the course for that circuit.
Yeah.
And it was just out. It was fantastic. I mean, you got Conor Cummins turning up on the FHO bike. You know, where did that come from? Like, where the fuck did that come from? That's just class.
But it's good, isn't it? That's mega. It's good. And it's nice to see that, you know, things looked a little bit uncertain for Conor, didn't they, after the TT?
Exactly.
Or, you know, you wondered sort of where that was going to go. And when I saw that, I just thought, yeah, fair play. Good. It's nice to see. Because you fast front lads on the roads, there's not a huge amount coming through at the minute, is there?
No,
You know,
and
we talked about this with John. The volume of sort of next big talent of the younger generation is not quite there yet, is it? In big volume. So every time one of those big names steps out, it's a big hit to the sport.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But like that's
I hope I haven't said that in an offensive way about to anybody.
No, you haven't.
I've
But
tried to, you know.
But then that's the fact. It's like even briefly touching on like the Manx Grand Prix element and the fact that there's no such thing as our major point there's no such thing as cheap racing, especially when you go road racing on the Isle of Man. You know, we're talking about the Manx Grand Prix. It's to be blunt, it's not the TT. It's the same circuit. It's the same team. It's the same effort. It's absolutely everything. They closed 37 miles. You need all them marshals. You need all that organisation to get it off the ground and running. But the Manx Grand Prix is an amateur event. You know, you pay the Manx Grand Prix Club for your entry to go racing. I think it worked out at just shy of £400 per class. So if you enter senior and junior, you know what I mean, you're talking a lot of brass. But then you've also got your ferry, your tyre bills, you've got everything. And
Time off work.
and like exactly, you know, and you're talking about like when they put these like on like Manx Grand Prix on the websites, and it's a big conversation point, you know, how do we save the Manx Grand Prix? And unfortunately it is in that little detrimental window, the fact that we are in risk of losing it. It's 101, that's over the century year was last year, it's 101 years of history of the Manx Grand Prix. And like Joe's talking about that, riders, Ian Hutchinson and like Conor, like all these lads started off at the Manx and build into the TT. And unfortunately we're starting to lose that, and I don't want to, it's
difficulty
it's
as
killing
well
me to say this, you know.
is like when such an influential factor plays a part in an event like the weather, you are fucked,
mate.
And you could sit and talk about all the funding in the world. If the weather doesn't play ball and the sport doesn't happen, the job's fucked. But would I be setting someone off down Braille in the wet? Negative.
Not a chance. And the thing, like, you know what? The organisation, it was just cancellation. And It just got to a point for them organisers, like you just said, had 100% had their hands tied behind their backs, and you just think, what the... And speaking as a rider, and I feel like there wasn't, everyone gets in the park for me, and then you can hear over from the organisers and the clerk of the course and the deputy and everyone going, unfortunately, guys, we're going to have to cancel this. And at no point, in my opinion, standing in that paddock with like 70 to 80 competitors going, they're not blaming them.
Yeah.
I genuinely feel like that.
But isn't it funny that you jump on the dreaded internet and the
blaming
keyboard
them.
warriors and you sit there and you think, you've never raced around there. You know nothing about what they're trying to do as organisers. You know nothing about their insurance, their protocols, the systems they've got in place. But it's easy from Facebook to say, well, what a fucking Jobsworth, doesn't know what he's doing, couldn't run a fucking bath. You just sit there and think, pal,
you haven't.
Do you know that message you've written?
Fucking clue.
Next time, don't bother.
But it's the Karens, the emailers, the keyboard warriors.
You just never cease to amaze me. You just think, and what power is that possibly doing? What is that doing for the sport other than bring negativity? Nothing. Don't bother saying it.
But it's scary, and I'm trying to look, and there are loads of positives. There's lessons learned. There's loads of things moving forward to the Manx, but we just need to. But the question always comes up: how do we save it? And I haven't got an answer, and that's pretty scary. If you know what I mean. It's like, because it needs people on the island to support, to go watch them. But even
so, what's the problem? It's not got enough money.
Hasn't got enough money.
I mean, like, you said
that's the blunt side of it.
You said the entry's £400. I mean,
that's per race.
Yeah, it should be £4,000 or something like that. If you think of the infrastructure that's involved in that event, if you want to go and watch Taylor Swift, you'll pay £1,000 for a ticket to watch her for an hour dancing around on a fucking show. You're going to close 37 3/4 miles. You're going to close a whole island and have all those marshals and everything. Like, £400 sounds a lot of money, but it is the cheapest way of. It is cheap. But if you go and race club race, you probably spend £400 a weekend on entries if you did 2 classes.
Well, I think No Limits endurance race is like £800, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, they're
to do a 3-hour endurance race.
And then, then you're going to go. The problem is, then only half of them can afford to do it. But then
it's not even just that.
I go back to what I said before. We're a working man's. We're working men that are interested in doing an expensive sport.
Yeah,
there's a mismatch. So I don't know the answer either. I'm just saying.
No, but you're right. But then it's
if you think how cheap that entry actually is, if you break it down, if you take the oh my god, that's £400 out of it, and go, bloody hell, I'm getting a lot for my money here. Like, they've closed this whole island that I can race around it, and there's flipping a marshal point on every half mile, and they've all got radios and course cars and flipping
helicopters
and. Pretty good value for money if you think about it.
No, I agree, and I totally agree, and I think, you've raced around there yourself and everyone agrees on that, but then it's also going back to the main thing of, like, it is the amateur element. You haven't got... It sounds horrible. BSB riders aren't going to the Manx. They step straight into the TT.
No, well, it's the stepping stone to the TT for riders who aren't already a big name. 100%. If you are a name and you say, I'd like to do the TT, you're going to most probably get an entry because you are then bringing that kudos
infrastructure
and all the rest of it to it. If you're a complete nobody, they're going to say, or you're maybe not a proven roadsman, and you go to the TT, they're going to say, come prove yourself at the Manx. And it does a perfect job for doing that with none of the pressure and stress and all the rest of it, but it carries a price tag.
I'm sure the organisers know what they're doing, but like... The biggest thing for the Manx, I think, is the classic element. So if you brought that up and you actually made it a festival of classic racing, and then actually there's a feeder class on the side, then you've got it covered.
This is the scratch. This is the scratch on that side of things, because it was actually the classic TT that came in after the Manx. So the Manx being the premier class,
that was the main event, wasn't it?
It's irrelevant if something brings crowds more than the other thing, then it's just happened to have superseded it. It's unfortunate, but that's the truth. If you want the Manx to carry on and it relies on something else, then I would embrace the something else rather than say it shouldn't be in front of the other one.
This was one of the things I used to hear, and this will probably be unpopular, but quite a lot of the old boys that used to do the classic racing, maybe 2007, 2008, before the TT organisers started saying, well, let's get a few of the TT lads over. Let's see if we can get McGuinness on the bike, and let's see if when that started happening, the purists of the classic bikes turn around and say,
Yeah, I get
this
that.
is bullshit. You know, now the qualifying time is just going to fucking move to a point where we can't race. It's difficult, isn't it? Because, as you say, with all due respect, Fred in the shed in pulling in the crowds that McGuinness is on a pattern. And what do you want to do? Do you want to make this a sustainable event that keeps happening through, off the back of John, we can bring in Monster now, and we can bring in this and we can bring in that, and it means that we can do it? Or do we say to Fred, who keeps bringing his Manx Norton for the last 30 years and goes around at 76 mile an hour average, do you know what, we'll keep muddling through so that you can be on the grid. It's hard, isn't it? It's hard. Because the sport...
if you keep doing that, then it might stop. So then you'll have nowhere to race anyway.
But then,
I know.
But this is like, even going to the presentation evening, it's like you got the Manx Grand Prix, and they were very foremostly talking about how the motorsport department, they were thanking them for their involvement because it needs to keep that event alive. But that side of it, and I completely go back to your main point, they are shutting down an island to run an event. That is a hard sell.
Absolutely massive.
To a government. Like to an island, to a civilization on there.
And the best way you can do that is to promote tourism, and to do that they need to have people turn up. So they have to have an event people want to go and watch. Do they want to go and watch a club race, or do they want to go and watch some flipping really cool old bikes go well fast?
It's not hard.
I know which I prefer out of the two.
It's not hard to justify if it's bringing in a result.
Exactly.
It's hard to justify when they're not getting the numbers to back up why they're doing what they're doing, and the classic
scene's massive. So anyway, that's my 2 pence. I just think if that makes it sustainable, then embrace it.
They've got to do it. Yeah.
It's like different, but even
how did yours go anyway? Because we will get to the bottom of this. Because you're doing it again. So how was the?
I've asked enough times. I'm now jumping on the bandwagon. I've got to that point.
I love it, absolutely love it. But
how was the Manx?
It was.
Did you end up on that 500 last minute?
Oh mate, that Melbury London 500 Manx Norton 92 ball,
stunning,
mate. Today, the second I got on that, I became man. Riding a single cylinder Manx Norton. That bike was designed to race around the Isle of Man. It was just an absolute pleasure to ride. I think we worked out it was 19 mile an hour down, but Melbury London, this is the first time they've turned up on the Isle of Man racing, and they had a gentleman called Glenn English who hasn't been there for 24 years, and he got on the podium.
Proper experienced classic racing.
Exactly, you know what I mean? Glenn English is not messing about, and you got Simon Watson and Max, and the whole family were there. They've enjoyed the experience, and yes, we've talked about the negatives of the Isle of Man. We had the shit weather, we had shit conditions, we had everything on that side.
Let's call them challenges. Let's call them challenges, not negatives. Let's try and be a bit more positive.
No, I love it, mate. I love it. I'm loving it, Joe. I'm loving it. But you're right, there was definitely challenges, but then you've got a new team turning up in the paddock. They had an absolute awesome time. But also, I must thank Bob Henderson Racing. That's the third time we've been there on that bike.
750.
That beautiful 750. Last year there was a component failure that brought me heel in 4 places last year. And I tell you what, I had a bit of PTSD. I don't know if you lads go through it, but I went through Lamfell on that for the first lap going, oh, thank fuck I made it through. You know what I mean? Honestly, it was just like, and we're through. Let's move on straight away. But Bob, that's the third time we've been there, and we finished 5th in that race, but unfortunately, it was unfortunate the races were 1 lap dashes, and I think fair play to the organisers, because it was either no laps or 1 lap. You can't, they
were pissing with the cock they'd got.
100%, 100%. But we've got to the point, and this is, I must give it, even getting through that race, because they red flagged it because of the fog coming in. So the front, I think it was the front 5 actually got through with no fog, and then from 5 onwards we just went straight into that visibility element. It was just riding through, just pea soup. Anything, well, the conditions massively changed, and you're thinking it is a time trial, it's a race to the end, blah 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 blah. But I'm absolutely over the moon, because unfortunately the Bob Henderson bike chucked out a lot of water, and it just got slower and slower and slower. So I was third at this point, and my bike was doing 163 when you got Craig Neve's bike doing 173, and I'm going
That's jamming on for a little 750.
Mate, 173 through the speed trap on a 1992 replica bike. It was just class to see that. But then they they're getting more popular, those bikes. Like you say, the class of scene is growing on that sort of things, and the bikes are just getting more and more serious, especially with like tyre technology. The times are going nuts. But with all these complications, like, unfortunately, I must give a shout out to the Scouse saviour, Captain Liverpool himself, Craig Noon, who listens to the show, because Stead Plan, who are like heavily involved in they've been involved in bike racing with like sidecars as well, with that's terrible, Birchills. Yep. So Stead Plan have been involved with the Birchills, involved with Hutchie for many years, but like Big Jim from Stead Plan, he had a 4-rider team. He had McGuinness, Connor Cummins, Andy Hornby, and Hutchie anything in, all on different classes. It was only me and McGuinness on the 350. But when it came to the time crunch on the Monday, because of all the cancellations, like I keep saying, they actually put the race together, the 350 and the 500, all out in the same grid. But the rule was, on that decision making, is if you have a 500 ride, you must ride your senior class rather than the 350.
Right.
That's why that decision came around, because at first everyone thought, well, why can't we pick our own bikes? But they made a decision. We had to roll with those punches. But that put Stead Plan in a very difficult position, because obviously John was on the pattern. I was on the Melbury London 500, and it was just like, but you look at someone investing money into a sport, and just Jim got a right kick in the balls that day. But he wasn't the only one. There was loads of teams like that.
How did he take it?
Unfortunately, I think he just had to take it. You know what I mean? But that goes to my main point, that the teams, the organisers, and do I dare say, like everyone on the island who turned up, marshals, everyone knew it wasn't the event's fault. And I feel like you say, the keyboard warriors, the Karens, everything like that, I go, it's fucking shite. It wasn't. It was just the hand that got down.
Usually the people that weren't there that write those.
The frustration as well is, as you say, like everyone that's in that paddock is a little family just trying to survive those days over there.
100%.
For good, for bad, for the challenges that come. It's such a unique paddock to be in. It's mega, isn't it?
Oh, it's mega.
And yeah, you turn around, you walk back down the hill, don't you, towards that toilet block, and you're going, fucking hell, I'll cancel it again because of the shit weather.
Yeah.
But that's the frustration at the situation you're in. It's not turning around and pointing up to the big glass tower saying, that's full of dickheads up there making the wrong call, they should have done this, that. Because you know that they need it to run as much as you need it to run. And that's where I just encourage the keyboard warriors just to not bother, because there's so much going into trying to make that happen in there.
Running a road race.
Well, that's because they're sat in flipping London and going, fucking bright and blue sky.
Yeah. Well,
I tell you what, running a road race now would be like running the country. No one wants that job.
No.
No one would want that job of the Manx Grand Prix. How they got you know what I mean? Not if. So fair play to them lot, and I
hope they can find a way to keep it going. We're not saying that it has gone, but I hope they find a sustainable way so that they can continue to do it.
The thing is, until the facts and figures arise, at the moment, leaving that event, I hope the weather hasn't put the Manx Grand Prix in a fragile situation.
Yeah.
It's easy, everyone's left the island feeling down a little bit because it was really shit weather. That was literally the poor side of it, but hopefully it doesn't lead into future problems.
One of the things that would make me go back to the island would be to ride a TZ250 around there.
There, you've heard it here first, folks. He's making the return. Get it done. Get a shout out with that. I love it.
I'm putting the feelers out.
Absolutely love it. But I tell you what, I would like to use this opportunity to extend our condolences and our thoughts to Lewis O'Regan's family, who he lost his life in practice. Obviously, it's that did not.
It's a cruel sport.
Yeah.
It's and unfortunately, the Isle of Man, the punishment never ever fits the crime around there.
100%.
And there's only a few of us that do it, have done it, have been and done it, and the loss is massive, isn't it?
100%. And he was a newcomer in 2013. He turned up on an MV Augusta this year. Absolutely fantastic. And
lovely looking thing. Turned out beautifully, wasn't it? Yeah.
And Lewis was like, it's like everyone you're bumping into in the paddock, and you're not. I haven't been for a pint with him or anything like that, but you saw him smiling, and he was there for the same reasons everyone else is, just for the love of life and the love of the event. And I just hope this event keeps going, because Lewis wouldn't want this event to fold over something like weather or anything on any side of that. So hopefully we find some answers just to get the Manx Grand Prix going on that side of things. I really do. But let's talk about the future of Joe.
That was about turn.
It was,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, got to spin it round.
Got to spin around my future. I'm not any more kids.
You got Baldor lined up, haven't you?
I've got the Baldor, yeah.
There you are. That changed the tune.
Yeah. No, happy enough. I'm going to ride with the ADSS guys on the Kawasaki again.
All right.
A few things went on, not negative, just there was the Metis conversation and there was the ADSS conversation, and a few personal circumstances changed, and there was a sort of a decision to be made, and the Kawasaki's where I'm going for the Baldor. So I don't even want to go into it all, but it's the lads at Metis are more than just motorbike mates. My two teammates, Gabby and Ludo, at Metis, they're mates before they're teammates. They're people that I genuinely speak to and have the crack with all the time. And it's weird, I don't have a massive circle of people that I would say I speak to on a weekly basis, but them two I do. And it's mad that they ended up being my teammates. So it was really hard to make that decision to not ride with them, but that I had my own reasons for that. Maybe
it was the money.
Yeah.
All about the money.
All about the money.
It's all about the cheddar. It's all about the cheddar. Fuck my friends.
But the Metis guys are going with
friends when you're rich.
I'll buy loyally.
I don't know, Christian. Who does?
Not me, obviously.
But Metis are going with the Honda to Baldor. So obviously I want to see how they get on, and hopefully
when it flies past you.
Dang. Well, they've just done a test.
At this point, Joe knew he fucked up.
They've just done a test, and I think they've understandably got a few challenges from the test at Le Mans, having spoken to the lads. So hopefully they can get that resolved for Baldor. And then I'll be back on a Kawasaki, so we'll see. It's
exciting times.
Just looking forward to it again. It's nice to be back racing in a paddock and in a championship that I'm enjoying. I'm back to enjoying my racing. I'm looking forward to going there with kind of none of the stress and the pressure added to trying to do the job, if that makes sense. So looking forward to that Baldor, and that'll sort of finish the year off, and then hopefully next year get something. This is my first full season back racing since end of 22. So it was always going to be kind of a bit of a mismatched year, and trying to get a ride where I could and do what I could to prove that I should, to myself, that I should still be racing. And so we'll see what next year brings, but do the Baldor first, and see how it goes from there.
Exciting. So by the time this has been released, Grace has already been to Oliver's Mount. So I must shout out to Andy Hayes, because Grace is... This is a bit weird, we're talking in the future already. So Grace has obviously been down, selling merch, everything like that. So thank you very much, Andy.
Thanks for buying your hats.
We're going to pre-plan this. She had an awesome weekend. I really hope it doesn't go like you know what I mean? The sun was out, there was free ice cream. Everyone won. Great times all around. So obviously that would have been the Gold Cup, and then this week would lead on to your race week, which will be the Alton Park round. Is that right?
Yeah.
How are you feeling, mate? Feeling tasty?
Feel good, yeah. It is what it is.
Good.
I just want to win the championship.
I don't want a lot. I don't want much in life.
So if you don't want much, but I just want to win the championship. Just please.
Have you worked out all scenarios then? So basically, if you win every race, and if Tommy comes second, you know how you can work out a battle plan.
I don't necessarily think I can hope for a 9-dart finish. I don't really think that's going to be achievable. As much as I'm a realist, so I don't see that happening. But we need. It's mad, isn't it? Because when you think about racing, you go, "Oh, the next round's like a super important one," but every point is the same. You know, the points from Navarra are equally as important as the points from Alton Park. It's just the timing of things make things seem a lot more important. So this is like a crunch weekend, just because like if we end up losing more points championship wise, then it's going to be a real issue. Whereas obviously if we can close the gap, then you then go in feeling a bit happier and to the last 2 rounds. So there's loads of points available. My dream would just obviously be to win it, and then I'm gone.
I think it's good that you're not like, it'd be very easy after 2 tough rounds to sit going, just a lot of pressure. You seem super relaxed about like, well, they were just 2 shit rounds and it's fine, we'll move on.
I think the more,
or is that just a front?
No, I think the more that I've been racing, the more I've understood to accept what is and isn't in my control.
Well, you've been at it long enough, haven't you? So.
Just a while. But yeah, I'm like, I always used to, when I was...
You were doing so well, Joe. You were doing so well, mate. You know what I mean? Just piss off our resident BSB superstar.
When I was
well done, son.
When I was teammates with Michael Laverty, he was always just dead chilled, and I was like desperate to be out in every session, and I was like first one out, and every test I was like ready an hour before and just ready every lap, every what's it, regardless of the conditions, regardless of what there was or wasn't to gain from it. And I was always up a height because I always wanted to be at the front of every timesheet, regardless of what session it was or whatever it was. And yeah, Michael was always relaxed, especially in the tests, but in bad condition tests and those sort of things. And yeah, I think I learned quite a bit from him about the times when it's important to be stressed about things, and then the times when is your fault, and the times when it isn't your fault when certain things are going on. So I'm a bit more relaxed about what's in my control and what's not, and
fair play.
If things are right, then they're right. I wouldn't be racing if I didn't think I'd win the championship as a rider, but everything has to fall into place. So it will be what it'll be. I'll go out and do my 100%, and everyone else on the on the grid will do exactly the same, and the best one, not the best rider necessarily will win, but the best combination of bike, rider, team, everything coming together, situation, everything coming together at once. It's not it's a big fuck off pot to make one cake. It's like
nothing's a foregone conclusion, is it? You're not guaranteed to be anything.
And at the moment, BSB is so good at the moment. They've got the rules good. There's the bikes are pretty equal across the board. So yeah, I think obviously the weather's starting to turn quite a bit in it. The mornings
it's got
we even said getting in here that it's getting cold on an evening now. Yeah, isn't it? It's dark at 8:10.
Firewood season.
That's gonna play a part. So yeah, it is what it is.
Round 1 done. All gone. Yeah.
I'm pretty chilled about it.
Yeah. Good.
Considering I've just come off something 2 absolutely awful.
Well, that's what I mean. For 2, shit
Love
runs
it.
out.
Love it. Well, good luck.
But they weren't that shit, were they? They were just...
No, they were shit.
Well, it's tight at the top.
Tight at the top.
Where's the next one for you?
Next one, I'm doing BSB Donington Park
on
my Ducati.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, building a V. You know that V2 I was planning on raffling. That went well out the window.
Did it?
The raffle's not happening
mate. It might happen, but it's going to be a full top spec bike.
Super sport bike,
mate. I've chucked every bit of my last savings into that thing, and I'm in love with it. Absolutely in love with it.
They're great bikes, aren't they?
Mate, I'm gonna
have to buy another one.
Mate, I want you to have a go on mine. Have you ridden Ben Curry's bike?
No.
Oh, mate,
I would really like to, actually. We did a Silverstone test for Ducati, not a tester, sorry, Ducati track day, and we went on our bikes. And actually, the idea was that Ben was going to have a go on mine, and I was going to have a go. And I would have loved to have had a go on it. That was before I had my one as well.
Right.
Oh yeah, I think I would have.
A proper, well sorted super bike, super sport bike.
Yeah.
But
they look so much fun to ride.
Yeah.
The proper ones. Mine was brilliant to ride. I really enjoyed it.
But they have to ride. It's a little bike. They have to ride kind of like a big bike. Would you agree with that?
100%. Yeah,
they are.
100%. When I took mine out to Spain, the lines I was using were full blown superbike lines. Just the way the engine makes power and stuff. It's cool.
Cool.
I'm doing that. I'm doing Spa
on the classic.
No. I'm taking my Ducati.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's
what's happening at Spa then?
It's a 6-hour endurance race in Spa. So it's like essentially like the no limits format. So you can take your own bike. So I'm hopping out there with Chris and Dan, and I'm looking forward to catching up with them and like fully just having the crack with them. It's going to be good. So the way I've worked it out, and sorry, Andy Brown, who I don't think listens to the show, because if he did, he probably wouldn't talk to me again. But anyway, no. So Andy's worked out that we can get the party boat from Newcastle, go into Rotterdam, and it's only like 3 hours. You can be at Spa.
Oh, yeah.
One of the best circuits in the world.
The best circuit in the world.
The best
Not one off, it is the best.
No. TT Spa. That's.
Oh, yeah.
You haven't done it. Yeah, exactly. There you are. So doing that, you're thinking it takes me 3 hours to get to Cadwell. And Cadwell's mega, but you just think you're going to Spa. You're thinking you get on the 5:30 ferry, have a couple of beers, sleep for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Get off 3 hours, you turn up at Spa, and you're doing a 6-hour race. So it's like 2 hours.
I think your ferry will be less than getting to the Isle of Man as well.
Exactly, it will be 100%. I haven't even booked it yet. I've got it all planned. We're in the entry and everything like that. So shout out to the lads for sorting that. And then the weekend after that is Donington Park. So a man called Mark has really kindly paid for me wildcard entry at 525 quid, which is like. But when you think that's 3 days of riding. Like BSB prices aren't.
No.
They really are not out the way. Entry fees wise,
no, they're not.
Far from it. So I'm doing that, and I'm just trying to get myself in a good place for next year. You know, it's a long winter. You know, you can't just because the TD's finished and the roads have finished for me this year.
Do you know what your plans are next year yet?
No, not yet. No. Like you say,
It's
there's
that
nothing.
time of year, isn't it?
Silly season in it. It's just going absolutely nuts. But
Do you?
No.
No.
I know that's a very set answer.
I love it.
Next. We'll move on, Christian.
I tell you what, speaking of questions, I feel like you should get your phones out, lads, and pick a
Some
patron.
Patreon questions.
Andy H. Are FHO leaving BSB? Will Josh and Peter, etc.? Where will Peter and Josh end up? Tommy Bridewell on the Honda to World Superbike if he wins this year? I have no idea.
So Tommy Bridewell to World Superbike, I just can't see any space at the inn, if I'm honest with you. So I doubt it, which would be a shame.
Yes.
If he's double British champion.
I can't listen and read. I can't do it. I'll have to read them in a minute. Honestly, man, I'm thick as big shit.
Hold on, well, you are the ambassador of Ireland. Man up, you know, you'd better learn to do two things at
If I was the ambassador of Ireland, I'd be whammoed now.
What he meant was I can't read.
I can't read. I
I don't
love it.
read good.
That is a good question by Andy H.
I can't see that Tommy would get a shot at Worlds, if I'm honest with you, but I kind of hope I'm wrong. If he wins the British Championship, certainly twice, I would really hope that he gets a shot. And
I tell you what,
Joe pulling out, I've got no idea.
and I hope not, because if that's another rumour flying around the place now. So if OMG are leaving, FHO are leaving, like what the hell's going on?
I've not heard anything in the paddock, so
I've heard nothing. Like the fact that you
I assume not.
well, good news.
But I don't know.
You never know in life, do we?
You don't know.
You never know in life.
I like this one. Dean Webster, any of you fancy a go at Daytona? Exiled Geordie in Texas willing to pay for a couple of sets of sticky buns. I'd love to do Daytona. That is on the bucket
100%.
list. Yeah.
How many people can you have in a team?
Well, it's a free-for-all, isn't it? It's not...
Well, because Josh is not here, he's opted out.
No, Daytona's just one rider
Daytona's
now.
one man, isn't it?
Oh shit,
One
it is,
man.
I?
Yeah.
Mint.
200.
Who asked that
Absolutely.
question? Dean Webster, have you got 3 bikes, 3 sets of tyres?
Well, Motor Rapido did go over last year as not Motor Rapido, sorry, Wilf went over last year as a support for, I forget his name, but it was the Boulder Motorsport V2, and I think he was pretty quick. I know they won the pit stop challenge, which they got about 10 grand for.
We're going. 10 grand.
Something like that. It was something ridiculous.
Jesus, wet. It's only one nut.
Well, exactly.
Done. Straight off. Off you go, son. Piece of piss. Love it. Love it. So, no, that was a cracking one, Dean. Thank you very much, mate.
But yeah, we'd all love to, basically. So you might have to buy lots of sticky buns.
Get lots of... like, Connor Henry. I'm just going to skip through most of that, mate. But why did Josh not race Armoy?
Because
The future wife said...
yeah, she said no.
I have no idea.
I didn't get stuck into you on that one, Josh. That's because I was too slow trying to read.
Mate, we have no idea. But no, Josh has obviously got his job at Norton, and it's he's jumping well in the deep end on
Josh
that side
is
of things.
definitely looking for, like, racing opportunities.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Was it
Definitely,
Goodwood, isn't he? He's doing Goodwood Revival.
He is, yeah.
He's going to be doing a Goodwood Revival.
It's funny because I see him working on the Norton stand up at like Cadwell, and like doing his all dressed nicely.
And he was out at MotoGP as well. Oh, he's a busy boy. That's probably why he didn't do our more. He's just flat out of work, isn't it?
Cooper, why is it that no one discusses the finances around racing? Well, hopefully we've covered that.
I think we've kind of
quite well, actually.
All the time.
Yeah.
What do they mean by the finances of racing?
Costs, salary, bonuses, amounts, etc. Racing is seen as a luxury, but people still have to pay the bills. So obviously, at a certain level, they are getting paid.
Like Christian doesn't roll out of bed for anything less than $500,000. So it's
people want to know, but it's always kept under wraps. Well, I don't know if it is.
I don't know if it is. I mean, I guess
we just don't know. It's just private.
I think it's a bit like going to work, isn't it? You
don't ask your person next to you at work how much you get paid,
what are you on? Yeah, how much is that costing you? How much did you pay for that? Yeah, it's just.
I don't think it's cloak and dagger. I think it's just.
The sport's expensive, The sport's expensive, and there's a lucky few that earn a few quid.
Yeah.
There's a lucky few that get free rides, and the vast majority are having to pay for the luxury of doing it. And it's...
I suppose it's different because in football, and I guess even in like Formula One and stuff, you get those big headlines of such a body's getting
signed for X amount. Yeah,
so I suppose in that respect, we don't do that like. You don't go on Bike Sport News and you go...
No, but we're a humble sport as well.
Having said that, you kind of do actually. If anything but...
In World Superbikes they might do. MotoGP they might do.
You hear the big numbers.
Yeah.
Probably because in BSB it's such a small number that you don't really want to brag about it.
That are getting paid.
You're just even the numbers that you get paid and not...
Yeah.
If you think that we're the pinnacle of...
Domestic
championship. I would say that most people would be surprised how poor the
salaries are. Yeah. That's a fair point.
If you think that there's we probably average 50,000 a weekend on-site attendance. It's not a small attendance.
No.
Plus you're live on TV for all of Sunday, 11 times a year, and most of Saturday.
Yeah.
It's not. We're not a big sport, but we're certainly not a fringe sport, I wouldn't say.
No.
So, yeah, I would say that the people would be probably surprised how few people get paid and how little they get paid.
Well, the good news is, Christian, I've won the Euros at 100 million, and they have drawn me numbers yet.
Awesome.
I haven't had the email confirming this yet, but I've got a strong feeling.
MotoGP next year?
Mate, you do whatever you want, Cupcake. I'm your new sugar daddy.
Oh, what do I have to do for that?
Mate, you know what?
I'll retire again.
Come on. Oh, yeah, man, I'm 100 million up. Got him. Love it. Absolutely
For
love it.
MotoGP, it's fine.
You'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll get it right from the back of my throat, don't you stress.
Oh, Jesus. That's class.
Grace will take that one out.
No. Grace will use that as a reel. I'll just go on loop forever. I love it. But no,
Maggie Day, what do you think to the low numbers of fans at Cadwell this year?
I thought they were.
Were they low?
No, but when you look at the footage from Eurosport, did you see the back field with the cars?
Yeah, I did see it. Yeah.
You're just like, Jesus,
Did they give a number for attendance?
I've not seen it. So we were on the grid and someone did actually make a comment of that it didn't look very busy.
On the banking?
On the banking.
The start-finish banking.
But it's very different because you don't know how many people are like, I don't know, people might be scattered differently around the track than normal. But yes, the start-finish banking wasn't as busy as it has been.
But then when you looked at the rest of it...
But camping was sold out, like, as soon as it got launched, camping was sold out. So that was maxed out straight away. So, I don't know.
It's a bank holiday, you know what I mean? People go on, like, family commitments and everything like that, you know what I mean? There is a lot going on.
I do think bank holidays put people off. I think they'd be better racing on the Sunday than the Monday. So then people can, like, go, oh, we'll have our family time on Monday.
There is that.
Not the racing. It's kind of hard to be like, oh, we're back to work tomorrow.
Especially when you got to, like...
Don't know if I don't think I agree with that.
Really?
No, because I think that would be exactly what I'd do to try and just get through 3 days at home. It'd be like, we just need to leave the house now. Let's go for a tour around a fucking railway museum. Anything, just get me out of the house.
But I genuinely don't know what the numbers were or what they were previously. But
no.
I do know that camping was absolutely ramajam. There's not a single space for anyone else. It was fully sold out.
Maybe it was down to, just down to like say.
We also got we did get pretty poor weather given what it was supposed to be, and like a lot of people decide to go on the day, don't they? Like, oh, we're going to go and watch a race.
Yeah.
So that's always going to hinder things. I don't think there's a massive like pre-order of tickets because it's not because all the bike races aren't like there isn't a capacity. There is, but there isn't. So they don't have to go, oh, we have to buy a ticket or it'll sell out.
Yes, I hear what you're
You
saying.
can literally decide
Just
to
turn
go
up.
and
On the day.
Pay on the
do you know
gate.
what?
Yeah.
Looks good weather today.
Yeah.
Let's go watch a race.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Definitely.
Lawrence Remington, I just like this one. What's the rumour mill about the paddock? Bit of talk from the commentary about Scott coming back to BSB with BMW outfit, or maybe a 2-man team in PBM.
Ooh.
I mean, it'd be nice to have a 2-man team in PVM again, just because it'd be nice to have that team bolstered back up to
Yes.
back up to full strength. There's a lot of one-rider teams at the moment, actually.
She's doing a good job, isn't she, Jordan?
Yeah,
The PBM team.
and
Yeah,
John are doing
Frank and John,
together,
yeah, it's
doing
not-
a good job. They've had 3 difficult rounds, but yeah, I have had 2 difficult rounds along with that. So we've had some difficulties
but
we spoke about.
But, like you say, you're judged on your tests, aren't you? And the fact that they have had trying rounds, it's just showing the strength of the team, you know what I mean? They're sticking together, sticking at it.
It's
and
quite
working
interesting,
through it,
actually.
you know what I mean? It's
In a way, we've started to, I wouldn't say work together, but talk more between. There's only 2 Ducatis left on the grid. Definitely the conversations have increased since we've had a couple of difficult rounds. A bit of like, oh, what have you tried? Not absolutely like that, but pretty much, like.
But that was never there before.
Nah.
There you are.
That's good, yeah.
But yeah, I've not heard of. I'm pretty sure they'd like to be back to a 2-rider team, but I've not heard anything. And the Scott Redding thing, that's. It's interesting.
That question, I think it was it Lawrence that asked that?
Yeah.
Whittam did say that. Whittam said Scott's in the paddock. He was in the paddock at Cadwell.
He was,
walking about, and he said,
is he friends with Fraser
just
Rogers?
wondering.
Yeah, he's got friends with Fraser.
What?
Yeah.
Hold on, was that the superbike race? And he in the qualifying or free practice, and it was pissing down with rain.
P1.
What he just fucked clean off, didn't he?
We did. Then he fell off.
But hey, tomorrow.
But no, I'd like Fraser.
give the man his glory for fuck's sake. You know what I mean?
Fraser's been riding really well all year, to be fair, and he had some fantastic race in the wet at Knockhill, so obviously feeling the flow.
Yeah.
And he actually broke both his legs motocrossing, and he only came back at
Thruxton.
Yeah.
So
he got turfed off there, didn't
so he then went P1 in the wet at Cadwell, but unfortunately then crashed, I think, the very next lap. And then I think he did a lap in the afternoon in the wet, but I think it was a mechanical that stopped him from doing any more.
Right.
And then when it was dry, I think there was something difficult for him to ride with his legs.
Right. Well, Cadwell's trying to ride around there with 2 legs that
Don't really
work.
Yeah. aren't connected to the other part of the legs.
So Scott was there, because I've seen him on the grid. We always like say hello to each other because we like, he's a good lad, Scott. But yeah, I can't see it that he'd come back to BSB, if I'm honest with you.
Right.
I think
he'll fight to stay in World Superbike.
I think he'll fight to stay in World Superbike, and there's talk of that team, that Bonovo team that folded, that are actually not folding. They're just going to go to a one-rider team and change brands, which would be supposedly Ducati. So they're just switching.
Right.
That's what I'd heard. And if he didn't go there, and I don't know Scott well enough to say this, but I think he'd probably prefer to go to Motor America than come back to BSB. He's got an American wife, and
it's another championship to go and conquer.
Done the British,
do you know what I mean? Baby on the way, family over there, and everything like that.
Yeah,
so.
I just see from an all the things considered point of view that he probably has been here and done it. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not a knowledge thing. That's just a what if I was him? What I'd be thinking.
I like it.
I think we need to, as well, just extend our thoughts and sort of prayers from everyone here at Chasin the Racing to Sylvain Gintoli and his family.
Yes.
Just been announced that his little lad has been diagnosed with cancer. So,
Jesus.
From everybody here at Chasin the Racing, we're all behind you. And, I don't think there's as a parent, I piss them on about my kids because they drive me fucking mad. But you know, you'd take a bullet for him, wouldn't you? And if there was anything that you could do about,
yeah, I seen it today on his Instagram, and then when you read something and you can't quite believe what you're sort of reading.
Yeah.
So yeah, thoughts with Sylvan's family, and
it's different as well as a parent, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah.
You know, you hear about these things when you're not a parent, and then when you become a parent and you hear that, you just think, there's something relatable, isn't there?
Yeah, it's horrendous.
You know, that whole family will pull together, and you know, we hope all the best. And I guess if there's anything any of us can do, then we'll do it. You know.
Yeah, strength to to his son, and hopefully it all turns out fine.
Well, if he's got his father's genes, it'll be tough. So
yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah. Proper.
So hopefully, like I say, this podcast will be out the weekend after Oliver's Mount. So hopefully, we've got more updates for everyone who's listening. You know, you'll be ahead of where we are right now on it. But no, well said, Joe. You know, 100%. You know, it's everyone here. Just good luck with it all, because it's going to be a shit road. Really is, absolutely, really is. But I tell you what. Where do we go from there? The fact that we've got Grace Rouse out on the road, out partying the night away.
And the boss is out on the piss.
Out on the piss.
And
we're here working.
Grafting away. It's in my hands.
I tell you what, you know what that's from? Reading that Alan Carter book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed it?
It was mega. No, it was mega. Do you know what?
Have you finished it?
Yeah, I have.
What's your favourite bit?
I'm steady at reading as well, so it takes
we just seen you beforehand.
Do the Patreon questions.
Long. Yeah, exactly. So can you imagine being in a house with 2 kids? Well, no, after McGuinness had mentioned it, when did we interview him?
Mate, that was literally on my list. It's TT.
Martin had lent me his original copy, which had been sat there with me intending on reading it, and then we went and saw John, and obviously,
and now you've read
it. Give me a kick up the ass. So, get your copies. There's only Chasin the Racin that sell them.
Indeed, mate.
So, I think
you can get them from other places, but they're just not as good.
Yeah, they're not as good. And they're signed by Alan, these ones.
Are they?
So,
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
they're not as good.
And if you look on Chasin the Racin on the socials, Alan was obviously in Chris's studio here, endorsing that fact. We haven't just gone and stole a load of books from Alan Carter and just started flogging them on the side. You know, Alan is fully involved in this.
Do you know, even if you're listening to this and you maybe not that asked about the technical side of motorbikes,
mate, that book
the story
the bike
about
bit is so small in that book.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's the bike element of it. You know, yes, he's he's the youngest rider in 250 GP history to win. But
won a Grand Prix from the back of the grid on a 250.
When you read this book, you will not believe the life he's had and the fact that he's still going through life.
Amazing.
Amazing. That is his story is borderline. It is unbelievable.
I don't like spending money. Stop talking.
No, mate. The book is just.
If it wasn't written down, you wouldn't believe that it was a true. And the bloke was sat in a bar telling you, you'd be like,
whatever,
this
mate.
guy.
Whatever.
So he can tell a good tale here. Can this bloke? No, buy the book. Mega read.
But I honestly get one bought and go from there. But I tell you what, lads, I feel like we should wrap it up from there. What do you say to that? But obviously, thank you so much to all our patrons: OMG Racing, JCT, Truck and Trailer Hire, Christian Idden, Joe Atroyd, and you're going to roll it out with our podcast
and our episode sponsor, Gear Change Clothing in Scunthorpe, or gearchangeonline.com for all your motorcycle. Is it apparel? Clothing.
Mate, that was so smooth to that bit there. You go. Apparel. I love it. So anyway, Grace, I hope you've had a great night and got in loads of trouble. But we can obviously delete this episode if you have, so happy days. Brilliant. No problem, lads. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your Friday at 11 o'clock at night. So
cheers, guys.
Jump in. See you in a bit.
Take care.